Ireland 41 years ago. We had 10 white ladies who worked in a grocery store, and they said, we refuse to sell grapefruits imported from South Africa anymore in this grocery store, and by doing that we're going to help end apartheid. Who's with us? And the whole of Ireland went, we don't really like grapefruits, to be honest. More of a luxury product. And I don't know if you've looked outside, but we don't have any black people either, so best of luck with that strategy. To be honest, not a whole lot of people support them. You remember one or two politicians, but for the most part, the police were against them, the trade unions were against them, Dunn Stores, the grocery store they worked in, was against them, and just a lot of the country. And they were delighted one day when this black fella called Nimrod showed up, and they were like, ooh, must be working. I've never seen a black guy before, and there's one out there right now, so we're having an impact. These ladies had never met a black person before, despite protesting on behalf of their rights. And this guy Nimrod said to them, ladies, what you're doing is so potentially impactful. I can't even really properly vocalize it, so I'm just going to stand with you every single day in solidarity until people pay attention. And he stood with them every single day for 6 months, walking 3 miles each way to get there with the ladies. And no one paid much attention at all, to be honest, until it made its way to a rather interesting man, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Yeah. On his way to pick up his Nobel Peace Prize, was like, I got to meet the grapefruit ladies. And he did. He flew them over to meet with him in London. And because of that, a rather interesting guy in America got wind of it. He said, I've never heard of a bunch of white people protesting something that affects them so little. This is fantastic. I have to march with these grapefruit ladies. That was Reverend Jesse Jackson, and he did march with the grapefruit ladies. That was enough to get the attention of a guy on his long walk to freedom on Robben Island, South Africa. And he said, once in a while, you hear other people fighting on behalf of you, and it just really inspires you to keep going. I have to meet with these grapefruit ladies. That was Nelson Mandela. And in 1990, he flew to Ireland to meet with the grapefruit ladies. And by that stage, the Irish government had given in, the trade unions gave in, the grocery store, Dunn Stores gave in, and Ireland became the first country in the Western world to ban the import and sale of all goods from South Africa, thereby helping end apartheid with a fruit that we don't feckin' like. For me, it's a lovely bit of history that all too often gets forgotten. But Nelson Mandela never forgot. When he passed away, he made sure that the ladies were invited guests of honour at his funeral, should they wish to attend. And they did attend in a free South Africa that they helped create. And it was only around that time Nimrod, the one black guy who showed up to the protest in Dublin, got round to telling them who he actually was. He'd been Nelson Mandela's cellmate on Robben Island. Oh yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew Irish people liked speaking up for other oppressed groups. He knew we loved the hip-hop, thought we were a little bit black. And I tell you that story because the leader of those 10 white ladies was called Karen, so you never know.
Morning, everybody. So good to see you here. Michelle, you always surprise us with these intros, and that's great. I love that. Dana, good morning.
Good morning. That was incredible. I have such a soft spot for Ireland and Dublin in general. My kids and their dad are all Irish citizens. They're dual citizens, and we went last year. And I was like, God, I wish this were my heritage. I love it here. And that story just made that feeling grow tenfold. It was wonderful.
The Irish, yes, I am married to somebody who also is of Irish descent and Slovenian. So I always make fun of him that, you know, the best export from his ancestral country is Melania Trump. But aside from that, he is mostly Irish. Yeah, I agree. I also have a soft spot for Ireland and the Irish and just
the land of my people.
The land of the kids.
Oh my gosh. How did you find that, Michelle? You just find like the best nuggets.
It came up on my feed, I don't know, maybe a year or more ago. And I just have a folder on my phone, and I keep them all there. And, you know, I always just, on Saturdays especially, like this week has been so awful. Yes. That I just wanted something to remind us that not all is lost and it's not hopeless. And, you know, especially in these moments. So Yeah.
Yes.
Can I brag about my friend Michelle Kinney for a second, guys? I know she's
Always.
not gonna like this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm
She's
already
not gonna like it,
uncomfortable.
but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I moved this week, and it's everybody who's ever moved, you know, it sucks. It's just every part of it is awful. I am currently wearing a shirt that I dug out of some container that I haven't unpacked yet, and it's so musty because it hasn't seen the light of day in like 10 years. But
Luckily, there's no smell-o-vision because you look great.
there's no smell-o-vision, but believe me, I'm smelling it, and I need to like put myself in the laundry right now. But the point is, like, moving sucks. It sucks on every level. And Michelle Kinney, out of nowhere, is like, I'll come over and help you move. I said, are you on drugs? Like, who comes over and helps anybody move? Like, maybe back in college when you couldn't afford movers, but like, no. She's like, I will help you unpack. I will help you do. I was like, what are you? What? For the last 2 days, Michelle has been over at my house, helping, like, organizing boxes, and I'm telling us what to unpack. I'm horrible at this. Michelle's obviously very good at this. And who does this? Like, nobody does this. So I just might,
That lady right there.
like this lady right here, and what a friend. And you guys, like, that's a real friend, because there's 2 things in New York everybody knows: you don't help anybody unpack, and you don't pick up anybody from the airport. Both things are total hassles.
Oh my gosh.
I'm probably never going to pick you up from the airport unless you're in real trouble. But I told Julie this last night that, you know, when I was moving into my very first apartment, it was the first time I ever had my name on a lease, that I wasn't like living in an apartment with 5 girls or whatever it was. You know, I randomly put a thing on, and I was like really rubbing pennies together to even just make it happen for myself.
Yeah.
And I put on Facebook, I'm like, can anyone help me move, or whatever it was, on Friday? And randomly, like 5 people I knew, not even that well, like showed up and helped me. And like, this wasn't just, you know, oh, you know, let me help you unpack or anything. This was like, somebody drove the truck, somebody was picking up my furniture, and it was like the nicest thing. And I've always thought about that. And it's like, moving is so shitty, and especially if you got a kid, and like, you know, it's just so, you know, it's like, and I told Julie this too. I was like, you know, it's not my stuff, so I'm not overwhelmed when I go into
That's exactly it.
You know, it's I don't know what's in them. It's like a nice surprise for me when I open them.
Well, the nice thing is Michelle and I are the same size, and I have all of these dresses from Fox News that Fox gave me back in the day to wear on air, and they're all super short because, of course, a little bit slutty, but not too slutty. Of course, if you've ever watched Fox News, you know what I'm talking about. Corporate slutty, right? Corporate slutty. But the nice thing is Michelle's a few inches shorter than I am, so they're not too short on her. So I basically said, Michelle, once I have boxes, whenever that day comes, just come shop in my closet, because I have nowhere. Not that, like, Michelle, I don't know that you would wear them either, because you and I don't go anywhere. But like, yeah. So Michelle's gonna go shopping in my closet when it was all. Other thing I have to say is, I don't know if people have this when they move. You know, it really kind of makes you take stock of your life. I probably am donating thousands of dollars worth of clothing that I truly, like, pounds and pounds and pounds of clothes that I did not even know existed. Like, they were shoved somewhere in the back of my closet. And then, of course, you don't really focus until you move somewhere. And then you're like, why am I moving all this crap that I don't actually wear?
Totally. Yeah.
And like, the amount of money that I have wasted over the course of my life on clothes that I probably have never worn is absurd and ridiculous. And I think it's actually making me take stock of my life, to like not just condo the shit out of my apartment, but also to just take stock of, like, not wasting money on stuff.
Yeah. Do I really need that? You know,
do I really need that? And it's not even a question of money. It's a question of, like, frivolity. And it's a question, I think, of, like, it's also a question of money, obviously, because it's stupid to waste money and stuff. But it's, like, also just a question of frivolity, and a question of like why? Like, why do we have all this shit?
Yeah.
We don't need it.
Yeah, so. It burdens us. And I have thought about this with my kids. I have 2 daughters. They're now 18 and 16. So, you know, they love they love clothes and all they love to go shopping for things, and they love to go to the bins. I don't know if you have a bins out there, but it's basically the last stop for Goodwill, where they dump
Oh,
everything into giant bins and you can buy things by the pound. And
Oh,
so
I
for kids without a lot of money, you can get like a giant bag full of clothes for like next to nothing. It is filthy. And I'm not like a germaphobe, but the first time they went, they were pretty young, and I went with them. They went with a bunch of friends, and a few parents came because it's in a not great part of town. And one of my friends joined me, and we were watching the kids shopping these. It's just like troughs of merchandise all mixed together. And my friend was like, I just watched, there was someone like sweeping. I just watched that woman sweeping dump the dirt into the bin. And I was like, you did not. She was like, go watch. And so I did, and she did. She was sweeping the trash off the floor and dumping it in the bins. So that gives you an idea of what this place is like. But I'm bringing it up because I was like, you all are in a phase of life where you are acquiring. You want to have all the things around you. And I remember that feeling of like, oh, I found these things. They're a great deal, and just wanting a closet full of options. Where I'm in a phase where I'm like, I am overburdened with how much stuff I have, and I want to get rid of and only bring things in when they like are really important. And I think nothing makes that clearer than trying to purge for a move.
yeah.
And I do have to say, hold on one second, because I think my son just ordered some Dunkin' while I wasn't here. I have to tell him to let them in. Hi. Yeah, send him up. Thanks. Bye-bye. Of course. Sorry. In the midst of all this, I gotta let me add, Dunkin' Donuts is around the corner from my house, but it's not like he could actually leave the apartment to go there. He has to get it delivered because, of course.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That might be the most like New York City thing I've ever heard.
Oh,
It is. I mean, I ordered stuff at the bodega, and it's 2 blocks away. I mean,
yeah. The beauty of New York is you actually never need to leave your house. And
no.
Why do you live in New York if you don't ever have to leave your house? I don't know, because the whole beauty of New York is you should be able to leave your house because everything's around the corner. But of course, then you get lazy with it.
We don't have Dunkin' Donuts in Seattle.
Oh, you have Starbucks.
Well, Starbucks.
We have
There's
Starbucks.
Monopoly.
Yeah,
we have loads of good local donut places here.
Sorry,
yeah. So I agree. I don't like anybody from Massachusetts. I'm so sorry. I went to college up in Boston, and when I say OD'd on Dunkin' coffee, because it's got a very specific kind of coffee taste.
Yes.
I OD'd on Dunkin' to the point where I can't even smell it anymore without wanting to.
I'm not a Dunkin' person.
I'm this is Starbucks coffee that I'm in my cup right now. I'm a Starbucks girl. Actually, Starbucks also kind of sucks, but it's between Dunkin'. Yeah, as between Dunkin' and Starbucks, I'm a Starbucks girl.
Same, but Seattle, so of course I am. I have tea. I have my little thermal cup here of tea and my mug of tea because it is very early here.
Oh God, I know. God bless Anna.
Yeah, it's only the main line of tea keeping me going all day.
You guys, also, I forgot to mention, we have Nicole Walters coming up. She's going to join in about 40 minutes or so, thanks to Dana. So Dana, tell the story. You just completely explain who she is, and then explain why you reached out to her, and then explain how she came to be on the show.
Yeah, it's a really short story. Nicole is not someone I know. She came to my attention, though, because she made me so happy. I think it was 2 nights ago, and it involves a little backstory. So this has been a rough week for women.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about how last week on the show we dove into Eric Swalwell, and it was really a news story. So we had that story breaking, and then Monday morning we wake up to the news that Andrew freaking Tate is the #1 new bestseller.
And I saw
Substack.
that. Oh my God.
And I believe he's not actually brand new to Substack, though that was my impression Monday morning. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe Substack is platforming this man. And I posted about it a bunch. A lot of us did. I don't know that I reported and blocked him. And if anyone listening, I advise you to do the same. I mean, there's precedent, right? Meta has deplatformed him. I think Twitter even kicked him off back in the day. Like, do not platform credibly accused human traffickers and rapists, Substack. But there he was sitting at the #1 spot for half the week. And he got kicked off the #1 spot by Nicole. That was how she came to my attention. Nicole Waters became the #1 new bestseller, and she posted about how thrilled she was to have so I'm thrilled it was a woman. I'm even more thrilled it was a Black woman who deplatformed Andrew Tate.
And explain who she is for people who don't know.
Yes, I have dug in. She is a New York Times bestselling writer and entrepreneur. And I have been researching her for this much time because she's just come to my attention. But it looks like she writes a lot about rebirth after divorce and a lot about financial rebirth after divorce. I'm excited to talk to her more to learn about her. But I reached out to her. I'm a complete stranger and just said, congratulations. I'm so happy you did this. It made my week. Do you want to come on my podcast, The Daily Whatever Show? And we
10 a.m.
broadcast
Eastern.
weekdays.
Wait, 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Just so people
10.
don't know.
Yes.
Annette and Lawrence Winterman do
It's my co-host.
a show every morning, Eastern,
Yes.
10 a.m. So please watch it if you are inclined. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she was like, how about this weekend? And I was like, okay, well, my show is not on, but I am on this other show called Saturdays for Sanity. And I think you would be a great fit because we definitely want to talk to the woman who deplatformed, or not deplatformed, but unseated Andrew Tate from his #1 spot. I have not looked this morning to see where the rankings are, but as of last night, she was #1. And I do want to hear, how she did it. Like, I think all of us, all the creators here are like, how, Substack is very obtuse about how they pick their bestsellers. We know it's a combination of traffic, visibility, subscribers, paid subscribers, but that secret sauce is they don't disclose it, right?
The funny thing about Andrew Tate is he has a ton of subscribers, but very few paid subscribers, which makes me, what that's all about is he just uploaded a bunch of lists.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not like people are flocking to him organically, just for the record, but which is fine. I mean, God bless, but that's just to be clear. It's kind of a bad week for women, but let me just give some hopeful stuff.
Please.
Yeah. So Michelle knows this because anybody who watches our show with Jeff Jarvis, Breaking News on Fridays, knows that we've been bitching about the New York Times nonstop.
Yes.
The New York Times has been writing column after column after column about how the Me Too movement's over and how it wasn't actually helpful for women.
Yes.
And like I don't understand what's happening over there at the editorial board, but it's become completely
right. Millennial feminism is dead. I saw that.
They're manifesting that which they believe. Like, if you convince people the Me Too movement sucks, eventually the Me Too movement will be dead because people think it's not around anymore. Whereas I'm here to tell you, working in the trenches every day in that movement, that it is very much alive. So what I've also been bitching about is that my nonprofit co-founder, Gretchen Carlson, and I, who literally run, I think, the last Me Too movement nonprofit, or one of the few left in the country, have been trying to get an op-ed in the New York Times for years, talking about all the accomplishments of the Me Too movement.
You talked about that last week on the show, how they were refusing to run.
All right. We wrote a letter to the editor to basically be like, F you, New York Times. Here's what the Me Too movement has accomplished. And we're like, the New York Times is never going to publish this because the New York Times is never going to, they just refuse. They've always refused to do it. It's a very short letter to the editor. I wrote it in it's like 300 or 350, 400 words, so very, very short. They have accepted it, so they're going to run it. So let me just cut to the chase of what is in this op-ed. Or not as, I'm sorry, they would never take an op-ed from us. What is in this letter to the editor that they've deigned to call? Which, by the way, it's hilarious because when you submit it, you have to sign that, yes, I wrote this. Yes, everything in here is factually true. And I did not use AI to write any part of this, which I think is very, very interesting that the Times now has an anti-AI submission policy.
Yeah.
I wrote it. I did not use AI to write it. But the point is, I think it's fascinating that now this is just a little tweak that the Times is putting in there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So let me just cut to the chase of what's going on.
Okay.
If the Me Too movement was not around over the last decade, these women who came out about Eric Swalwell would never have been believed. Ever.
So true.
Ever. The Epstein women, the only reason we're even taking them seriously right now and believe them is because of the Me Too movement. When they came forward 20, 30 years ago, nobody believed them. The reckoning is happening because of the Me Too movement. And there are laws that Gretchen and I spearheaded that now allow women to have their day in court and for these cases not to be swept up into the secret chamber of arbitration, that are now helping women come forward publicly in a court of law, that would not have happened if not for the Me Too movement.
Amazing.
We banned NDAs for pre-dispute NDAs for sexual misconduct. That law that we spearheaded, that would not have happened if not for the Me Too movement. So
Yes.
I'm saying all of this, like somebody here mentioned Anita Hill in the chat. Anita Hill was, remember, it was a he said, she said.
Yes.
Brett Kavanaugh was a he said, she said. Swalwell was not a he said, she said. Epstein is not a he said, she said. Right? Like,
Yeah.
people believe the women now. So this movement is very much alive and well and working. And so that is actually good news for women. And I don't want people to get despondent. Like, the fact that Swalwell, it's depressing. Yes, Eric Swalwell is depressing. But again, it means that it's working because these survivors are believed. When this one of, the main survivor in Swalwell, when she reached out to me,
Yeah.
she originally, I think, was a little nervous because she was like, I don't know if people are going to believe, not believe, and I was like, they're going to believe you because you have a very compelling story, and it's people are going to believe you. Like, they're going to believe you, and they did believe her. They did believe her. And so I just want people to know that it's good news. We're, I use this expression all the time. It's Martin Luther King didn't come up with it, but he kind of popularized it. He said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that. I know every day it sounds like things are shitty and depressing, but the arc of the moral universe is long, but it does bend towards justice.
We hope.
It does. It does. I believe that with every fiber of my being, or else I would have been not dedicating, every iota of my life to this movement.
Yes.
Otherwise I'd be sitting, in a corner, huddled and depressed. And I'm not. And I'm not saying this because, Michelle knows me well. I'm not one of these people who's like a Pollyanna, but I truly know that, and I truly believe it. So I want people.
You're doing the work and you're seeing it.
But I want people to understand that. So, for your Saturday morning positivity, like,
yes,
it's true. It is working.
I love it. Julie, I've been referencing you a lot this week as we've been talking about these topics, and I've been fighting with bad men online, but mostly on lives, and particularly around Swalwell. I have been challenged, and so has Lawrence, about like, well, how do you know innocent until proven guilty?
Oh, I hate that.
And there were a couple of layers to put on that were really interesting. And one of them just was literally, how do you know? And it was like, Julie Roginski is reporting it. And that comes with gravitas that is rock solid. But there was, I read a quote, and I'm double referencing it back. I saw this from writer Christy Coulter, who is a friend of mine. She put her book, she has had a couple books. Exit Interview was the big one. Very well-known writer out here. She spearheaded a similar sort of campaign out here about a local rock star. And I can say his name because NPR ran the story. It was Ken Stringfellow. But she was sort of the queen pin of the story, the one who the victims found, and she connected them to our local NPR station, and they wrote a whole story about it. And she was quoting the journalist from this NPR story saying, so few women come forward when they are raped or sexually assaulted, and even fewer of the ones who come forward come to court and successfully prosecute their rapist. I think it was like 11 out of every 1,000. It was a really low number. So frequently it's the court of public opinion. It's journalism that is where the justice is served, and how that's why she took her job so seriously. And I was like, in the context of that, these women have already won. Right, the court case against him, I don't know where that will go. We were saying this because Lawrence and I were on with Zev Shalev on Five Stack this week, which was so cool. We were filling in for Dean Blundell, very big Canadian shoes, and he challenged us like, well, we don't know if it's going to be won. It still has to go to court. And I was like, it's already won. My understanding from you is that this woman came forward once she was like, I don't want my rapist to be the governor of California and positioned to
No,
potentially
no,
become
no,
president, right? Like that's
no.
already such a victory.
No,
Am I
she came forward. She came forward actually for different reasons. She
okay?
came forward because she got a call from a reporter who was investigating allegations about other women, and she had worked for him.
Ah,
And
okay.
so the reporter reached out to her and was like, "Have you heard anything?" And
Oh,
she struggled with it for a very long time.
okay.
And she reached out, I believe, to the campaign, if I'm not mistaken, and they were very and said to them, "Listen, this reporter is calling you." And I believe it was the campaign manager or somebody was like, "Well, did you ever experience anything?" And she paused, and the campaign manager said, "You know what? I don't even want to know."
Oh, that's right.
And completely dismissed her. And I don't know if it was actually the campaign manager. So to the campaign manager, if it was not you, I apologize, but somebody high up in the campaign. She felt totally dismissed. She felt like they were totally like, whatever, little girl, go away. And that's when she was like, "You know what? I have a story to tell." So she didn't do it. Like she struggled very much with coming forward because her story, and this, I just want people to understand, especially in the Democratic Party. And I want to get to what Lawrence wrote, because Lawrence, who's not with us today, but usually joins us on Saturdays, also wrote an incredibly powerful piece, which I'm actually going to drop in the chat right now. But staying on the subject of the survivor, she does not, like so many other women, does not have a perfectly clean story in the sense that,
Right.
you know, she was groomed by him. She, you know, exchanged, like this wasn't like a, oh my God, a stranger, you know, raped me.
Right.
She engaged with him. She had one sexual encounter with him that, you know, felt coercive, but nevertheless, nobody drugged her or raped her, you know, like whatever.
Right.
And so, you know, I think from her perspective, like she, and people have to understand, like, as somebody who came forward at Fox, right? Like, I had a clean story in the sense that I never engaged, you know, with Roger Ailes, but nevertheless, like, we still have parents. We don't want to have our dads think of us, you know, as a sexual object where somebody's like hitting on us or something to us. We don't want to be going down in history. Like, my whole thing was, I understood very quickly that the first line of my obituary was going to be, even if it was cancer, Julie Roginski, who sued Roger Ailes for sexual harassment, and I didn't want that to be my legacy, because we're so much more than just that, right? Which is why I ultimately started with nonprofit, because I wanted to change that for other women and also for myself. I you know, hopefully my legacy will be Julie Roginski, who founded the Media Network, or who founded the nonprofit Lift Our Voices That Change Laws, or something like that, right? But nevertheless, if I didn't do any of those things, that would have been the first line of my obituary. And none of us wants to be that person, because so much, I mean, like, that's one episode in an otherwise incredibly diverse life. And I think a lot of the reasons women don't want to come forward, but I do want to talk for a minute about what Lawrence wrote.
Okay.
Lawrence Winterman is such an ally to women that it's insane. He just is.
Yes, and he's in the chat.
Oh, he's in the chat. Okay, well,
hi,
then
Lawrence.
Lawrence wrote what I think is an incredibly, and Dana, you tell me if he's ever come forward about being, you know, sexually abused as a child himself before, but
yes, he talks about it quite frankly on the Daily Whatever show.
This was news to me. This was news to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, first of all, Lawrence, I can't even imagine, as somebody who's never had that experience, I am so deeply sorry. And to anybody else who's in that position, I'm so deeply sorry, especially as a child. Like, there's a special place in hell for people who do that to children. But for Lawrence to then use, Lawrence is a man, right? Like, Lawrence doesn't have to stand up for women. Because Lawrence, you know, he's a big guy. Like, nobody's gonna, hopefully. Right. But Lawrence is also a gay man, and as somebody who's friends with gay men, like, I think gay men, especially of Lawrence's age, Lawrence, like, we're the same age roughly. It was a very tough time to be gay, I think, for a man, coming out as Lawrence did in the 80s or 90s. I don't know when Lawrence came out, but it was hard to be a gay man, I assume, in the 80s and 90s, even the early 2000s.
Yeah. Lawrence didn't come out to me until we were in our early 20s.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. My best friend, who's also a gay man, did not come out to me until he was in his, I think, early 30s.
Okay.
And so he was also a politician, and a Republican politician, so it was a little hard for him, but nevertheless. You know, I say that because just read what Lawrence wrote, because what Lawrence basically did was go through line by line about what women go through, not just women, gay men and other non-white straight men go through. That's just brutal, and what our society does to people who do that.
Yeah.
And especially Lawrence, you know, I learned, and this is not my story to tell, Lawrence can talk about it himself, but I mean, I think there's also a hierarchy among gay men as to, you know, in that sense as well. And it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like people just have to, it just sucks. And what Michelle played, I think earlier, Michelle, is also to that point, like being a Black man in South Africa or a Black woman in South Africa, being a gay man in America or anywhere else in the world, being a woman. It's just tough. It's just tough.
It has been wonderful seeing Lawrence especially, and other wonderful men. I see Eric Lola is in the chat, and Frederick Pogue, and Pero. They're
ally as well.
Yes, Qasim Rashid wrote a great story. Like, to see men behaving in the best way possible during a week when women we're not okay. Like, we haven't even gotten into the whole CNN story about the rape academy, the online rape academy, which is what Lawrence was responding to.
Hey, Dana, you're coming in and out for me. I don't know if you are for others.
Shoot. I don't hear it. Is it okay now? Is it getting better?
Better.
Okay.
Better.
Good. Hopefully, because this is so important that we were on air and someone in the comments was challenging Lawrence of like, well, I believe Swalwell is innocent and he's not proven guilty yet. And the way he unequivocally popped off on this guy and said, no, that's not okay. Is there a zero-sum chance that maybe as a scientist we could see in all of the infinite probabilities in the world, there's like this much that sure history could be true, but no, there's no doubt in my mind that I believe these women. The stories are too compelling, and the reality is we need to believe women.
Yep.
And it was so nice because I was the only woman on this live. And I thought it was going to fall to me because I felt all my hackles raising as I saw the comment come in the chat. And to have a man lead the charge so that I didn't have to meant so much. To read these, like, I've seen plenty of men saying terrible things online, but seeing these men who have platforms just unequivocally be like, that we haven't gotten into that story yet, but I assume most people here have seen the story about the 62 million page views in February. Do you know?
Well, did you see the number for the 62 million is how many people went to that website in February? Did you see what the number was in March?
I haven't seen it yet.
85 million.
So what is it, Michelle? Tell people.
Okay. Oh yeah. Here, I'll go get the link while you're talking because the story is a horror.
Yeah, there is a website where I guess men go to learn about how to drug and rape your girlfriends and wives. And there are already 20,000 videos of this happening. Now, again, like this is women that are already in these men's lives. These are girlfriends. These are wives. And, you know, if you think about also, I mean, when the story about the woman in France who had been drugged by her husband for years and years and was basically being doled out to other men without her knowledge, there was a discovery that there was in a WhatsApp group with 35,000 men in it. And that was just like hey, tricks and tips on how to drug and do this to women in your lives. your mothers, your grandmothers. I mean that, and so this is similar in that this is a website where people now apparently, you know, there's other things on this website other than this, but like, my God. And that's the
Yeah.
small detail that a lot of these men in the comments are kind of hanging on to, is like, well,
Yes.
62 million hits on this website, but not everything on that website is that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? That's it? That's what you have to say? Nothing about
That's your
the
take.
1,000 videos of men doing this to their wives and girlfriends? You know, which was also like so triggering, like listening to the other, you know, the second, well, I guess fifth Eric Swalwell survivor in Beverly Hills, who came forward and said that he had drugged her and given her a roofie that made her body unable to, so she was totally conscious, except for the time when he was making her unconscious with his hands. You know, she was like, I couldn't move my body or my legs or my arms. And so, and I bring that up because there is this, women are not okay this week, but there is this sisterhood where we're all sort of, you know,
Yes.
checking in on each other. And one of my best friends, this happened to her. She was roofied in LA. And luckily, one of our college friends was with her, a man. And he saw when she walked out into the parking lot that she collapsed, and he ran to her. And these other guys that had put something in her drink were waiting for her to to go totally, you know, comatose. And he ran to her and grabbed her, put him in his car and drove her home and sat with her for 6 hours while this drug wore off. And she's like, it was the most terrifying thing. She's like, I was totally conscious, but I could not move my body and I could not speak. It was terrifying. And he said,
this happens in the gay community too, by the way, with men.
Yes, it does. It does.
So it's not just women. It's all, as I keep saying, it's people.
It's vulnerable people. I mean, it's, you know,
Yeah.
And it's just, this has all just been really hard, whether it's yourself or someone you care about, you know. And she said to me, you know, it's important that we remember the good men in our lives who have stepped in to help. Because, like, I think a lot of us, especially us three, and you're like, I don't need anybody to help me. I don't need anyone to save me. But in this instance, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
It is to hear a man speak up in a valuable and meaningful way is like it's just, we're tired of fighting. We're fighting everything all the time. And for just give me to just have 2 minutes where I don't have to, or we don't have to, and you're going to talk to your people.
Yes.
Like
that's exactly it.
Yeah. And there's a comedian. He's Scottish. His name is David Sloss. You may recognize him, maybe not. He did a monologue during his stand-up special about this. And I'd actually really like to play it. I was going to play it to open us up, but I thought it was a little bit too So I was
I would love to see it.
Ladies, but it's a serious subject matter, obviously, but it's going to feel really cathartic because thank God for good men. Here we go.
Every single woman who has experience of sexual assault was to go to the police. There are not enough police officers or courtrooms in the world to deal with the problem, and that's not even taking into consideration that the problem goes all the way to the very top. Now, that's not my way of saying you shouldn't go to the police. It's just my way of letting you know how big this problem is. 97% of rapists will not spend a single day in jail. That is a real statistic. That is abhorrent. So how do we fix that? How does society, how do we fix this? How do we stop? The only thing I can think of is it has to involve us. And by us, I mean men. Now, to the women in the room, I know you know this. None of this is new information to you. You've lived your life, you've got your experiences, and your voices are more important and necessary in this discussion than mine. That being said, I would still like to lend my voice to the discussion. And to the men in the room, I want to make something crystal clear. This isn't an attack. I'm not accusing you of anything. And more importantly, I'm not accusing your friends of anything. I'm just trying to tell you my experience, and this is my experience. I knew this man for 8 years, and he did it. There are monsters amongst us and they look like us. If you are sick of the narrative that is currently going on about men, feel free to change it, but you have to get involved. Don't make the same mistake I did for years, which was just sitting back and be like, well, I'm not part of the problem, therefore I must be part of the solution, because that's just not how this works. I believe, and deep down I know that most men are good, of course we are, but when 1 in 10 men are shit, and the other 9 do nothing, they might as well not be there. If you think this does not affect the women in your life, talk to them after this show and watch your world crumble before your very eyes.
He goes on to say, if no woman has ever told you before, it means they don't trust you enough to share that information with you. And he starts the story by saying that it was a bunch of their friends that had been out, you know, and he's like, one of my best girlfriends. He's like, so what happened after I left? And she's like, well, and he's like, and I leaned in because I was like, ooh, here comes gossip. And she said, and she told him that his best friend of 8 years had raped her. And he was like, and his entire world went dark. And that's what inspired him to tell that story. And he really is. And when he goes on podcasts, when he talks this way all the time. And he's like, I'm talking to my bros here. I'm talking to my men. He was like, you have to do something. Doing nothing is not an option.
Oh my God, I'm in
Well,
love.
be the assailant. Yeah.
People in the chat are asking for that link and for his name again, if you have it, Michelle.
I will tell you again. I'm sure I'm Daniel Sloss, SLOSS.
Okay.
If you go to his Instagram, it should be there. I mean, it's all over TikTok. Just Google. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. So go and find that.
All right. For something a little lighter, so that people don't hang themselves this morning, because it is Saturdays for Sanity.
Yes.
I saw Jerry Seinfeld on last Saturday.
How was that?
It was very. You know what? It was great. So you know my story about Jerry. Did I ever tell you my Jerry Seinfeld story? Did you ever watch Seinfeld?
Of course.
Okay. Michelle, you watched Seinfeld, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I remember.
Okay. Here's my Jerry Seinfeld story. So Jerry Seinfeld lives in my neighborhood, and I know exactly.
Of course he does.
And I know exactly where he lives. Well, actually, everybody knows where he lives. He lives in the Beresford. It's a building on Central Park West. I do not live in the Beresford because I am not that rich, but nevertheless, it is not far. It is not far from where I live. And he's lived there. And he's lived there for decades with his family. And I have never seen Jerry Seinfeld out, ever, and ever, which is like whatever. It's kind of weird. And yes, it's the Babka story.
Yeah, the Babka.
And so I, maybe about 5 years ago, am walking near Lincoln Center, or anybody who knows New York, which is also in our neighborhood. And I pop into a store, like a bakery, which I typically never pop into. And I see that they're selling chocolate babkas. And I was like, I haven't had a babka in 30 years. And I'm like, I think my husband might like this. So I purchased the babka. And all I can think about whenever I hear the word babka is, of course, the babka, the babka episode from Seinfeld. And I am literally carrying this babka because in New York, you have to pay a little extra to get bags. So they're like, do you want a bag? And I was like, I'll just carry the babka without a bag. So I am literally carrying this chocolate babka, which, as we remember from Seinfeld, does not take a back seat to any babka, because they wanted the cinnamon babka, but they had to settle for the chocolate babka. Does not take a back seat to any babka. And I'm literally laughing. So I'm like, the word babka, I'm automatically associated.
It's a funny word. Yeah.
It's a funny word, but I also associate it with Seinfeld because like whoever buys a babka, right? So I'm walking past the Empire Hotel, and there is which by the way is where I got married. and I'm carrying this babka under my arm, and there's a restaurant. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's a restaurant right outside.
PJ Clark's. Yeah.
PJ Clark's, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
And I see Jerry Seinfeld sitting in a table with a friend outside this restaurant as I'm carrying this babka.
Wow.
And I'm like, it's one of those stories that like, if I didn't live it, I'd be like, come on, you're making this up. But I swear to God, on all that is holy, it is 100% true.
Oh my God.
I am cracking up that I'm like seeing Jerry. So I look at him because I'm startled. And so like, he kind of, I guess, catches my eye, and we're looking at each other for 1 second. And I'm like, do I say anything about the babka? And then I'm like, I'm not going to say anything about the babka. And I just kept walking. Anyway, that's my Jerry Seinfeld babka story. But I have never seen him do stand-up, even though he does a residency at the Beacon Theater here, also down the street. all the time.
Yeah, I was surprised that you didn't see him there. You went all the way.
Never. But we had to go to Newark, New Jersey to see him because we had friends from New Jersey that invited us to go see him. He was excellent. He was so good. So good. What's interesting about him is he then takes questions from the audience.
Interesting.
And it's hilarious. Like people ask him questions and he answers them and he's like hilarious. Like he is so quick. And it's obviously not pre-planned.
Yeah, that's a muscle.
That's a muscle. So good. So good. My husband has never seen Seinfeld ever, which is a big demerit.
Never seen the show or anything?
No, he does. I've showed it to him. He doesn't like it. He doesn't think it's that funny.
I know. It really was of a moment.
West Sider too. Like it's very. I mean, Joe, my husband Joe, obsessed with Seinfeld. More. Ooh, sorry, I keep hitting my mic. Sorry. Way more than I ever could be.
No. Has never watched
episode.
Has never watched
the
pen. The pen episode's great. The Aspen pen
episode. Take the pen.
Yeah, take the pen.
Take the pen.
Never. So afterward, he thought the stand-up was hilarious. So we come home and I was like, all right, let me show you a couple of episodes of Seinfeld. And no, I showed him the Keith Hernandez one. Remember back?
Oh yeah.
Back into the left.
Oh yeah, it's like it's like the Dealey Plaza episode essentially, right?
Yeah.
Where he spits on him.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The Kennedy assassination.
Right.
It was funny. None of it. He was like, eh. And then
really?
And then, and because I'm Mother of the Year, I allowed my then 11 or 12-year-old to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, which in retrospect is really inappropriate.
Yeah,
and
that's like HBO Seinfeld.
Yeah, and then my husband came home as we were watching this. He's like, are you on drugs? Turn this off immediately. Like, why are you showing this kid like the Palestinian chicken episode where she's like literally having like violent sex with a Palestinian who's like, you dirty Jew, like this horrible episode. I don't know if you ever
because nobody makes
I've
like
not seen
more I don't know. It's like purposely uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like awful.
That are like offensive, but in a purposeful way than Larry David.
And
you know
my son's still pissed off at my husband because I was like, you're right. This is really inappropriate. But anyway, he did not
turn it off in the middle of the episode.
He did not think Curb was hilarious. But nevertheless, we had a good time. Seinfeld was great. He was really, really good. And I've heard he's not a particularly nice guy in real life, though.
I've heard he's a real jerk.
Yeah. As opposed to Larry, who I think is actually a good guy from what I've heard. Larry David.
Yeah, because that's Larry. That's him.
Yeah.
Larry David is Larry David. And I think that Jerry Seinfeld is, he's just more, he's kind of like cranky and ornery. And he's like, get these kids off my lawn kind of energy. Doesn't want to be bothered. Don't talk to me. You know what I mean? Which is interesting. I feel like, in New York City especially, you see celebrities and it's like, whatever, most of the time you don't see them bothered. No one bothers them or anything like that. But I think that if somebody did say something, I've waited on a couple of famous people when I was a waitress, but I said something to one of them.
Who?
One of them was Nick Lachey, which I did not say anything.
Lachey.
Nick Lachey and his wife.
So famous?
Well, he's like, Nick Lachey, I don't know. And he used to come into our restaurant all the time.
Okay.
And it was like a barbecue restaurant. I was like, why are you eating here? Like, it's not even that good. But the other one, do you remember Dina Carter?
No.
She sang Strawberry Wine. She's a country singer.
No.
I don't know her.
Oh, well, anyways, I talked to her. But other than that, it's like, you either pretend you don't know who they are, which I did with Matthew Broderick once. I was like, who are you? I don't know.
Oh my God.
But, I don't know. You just see people and they're just normal people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just normal people. But I feel like Jerry Seinfeld's one of those people who doesn't see himself as a normal person. He's like, I'm Jerry Seinfeld.
He basically acknowledges that, right? He's like, he was talking about how they went on vacation, the family goes on vacation. He's like, it is exactly this type of vacation you would envision really rich people going on. Like he's very self-aware.
He's like a character on White Lotus.
But who's the most random like my friend and I used to have this kind of like contest about like who's the most random celebrity you've ever seen on the street. And mine was, I have two. One was Carrot Top, which I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
God.
It was in the Village, and I was living downtown in the Village.
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top. And one was, who was Tony Soprano's Russian mistress? Did you watch The Sopranos?
I did not watch The
That's
Sopranos.
my parents. They're watching it right now.
Yeah, I forgot her name on the show. It was like Svetlana or I forgot who it was, but we saw her. She was very pretty. But Carrot Top was like, we're
I haven't heard that name in a very long time.
There is a guy from The Sopranos who's like kind of tall and lankier and had white hair. And I think he's the one who gets run over by a car in that last episode.
Oh, yeah. The rival bomb, yeah.
Yeah, I remember we were at a party once, and he was there, and he kept going up to my friend and going, "Gorgeous, gorgeous. What are you doing, Leia? What are you doing, Leia?" I was like, what is happening? He's like 50 years older than us.
You know who we used to do shows with on Fox all the time, because he was a big Trumper before Trump was even a thing.
Ugh.
Oh my God, why am I blanking? I love The Sopranos, but I don't know why I'm forgetting their names.
He's on The Sopranos? That's surprising.
No, it's not surprising. Who was the guy who was married to Ginny, who was the really obese wife?
I don't know.
The other mob. He ended up going to jail on the show. Anyway.
I haven't seen it in so long.
And whenever I saw Little Steven, who was on The Sopranos at the time also, on the street, and Little Steven was awesome. He was like, everybody's like, "Hey, Little Steven." He's like, "Hey." And so I said to him, "Hey, I ran into Little Steven at a takeout at Lenny's, which is a chain like sub,
it's like a sandwich place.
Place."
Yeah.
And he's like, he's gotten really big, hasn't he? He's gotten really fat. I was like, oh my God, why are you trashing Little Steven, dude? Like,
so
like,
rude.
He's in the E Street Band. Like, are you on drugs? Like, he's both in the E Street Band, the greatest band, one of the greatest.
Oh, yeah.
Of all time.
Yes.
But no, this wasn't Little Steven. This was somebody else from The Sopranos that I was talking to. But I said I ran into.
The guy wears the headscarf. Who's in the E Street Band?
Yes, Little Steven's awesome. Little Steven's the best.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this guy who was on the show on Fox with all the time, whose name I just cannot remember right now. But I have to look this up.
Fox seems like such another universe of just Stevie Van Sant. Yeah.
No, not Little Steven Van Sant. But hold on a second. Hold on. Johnny Sack. That's who it was. I was on with Johnny Sack all the time on Fox. I forgot his real name, but Johnny Sack was a big Republican, and Johnny Sack trashed Little Steven to me. If you're watching Johnny Sack, yes, you did. Don't deny it. And I was like, he's Little Steven. He is both on the best show on television and in the best band in history, which, by the way, I'm going to go see Springsteen and the E Street Band in May, and I am so excited because
congrats.
The Jersey girl in me loves Bruce, and I cannot wait. So there you go.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Congrats.
I know. By the way, Bruce, although I love Bruce is ripping people off with these ticket prices.
I know. I wonder if he could do something about that. Because, Live Nation, I mean, I don't know if you saw this, Dana. Live Nation lost their lawsuit. They were sued for in the antitrust stuff.
I didn't see that. Tell me more.
Lost. I was like, somebody take on Ticketmaster now. I don't know if there's already.
It's part of the same thing.
It is part of the same thing.
Yeah, aren't they the same company?
You know who did that? You know who did that case? My husband's best friend, Jeff Kessler, was the lawyer who sued the shit out of Live Nation, and they won.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. So now, because they have a monopoly on all of this.
Yeah, and Dana, were you a Nirvana person? I mean, you're.
I do love Nirvana. I moved to Seattle in 1996. So I got here
after.
Just post grunge.
Yeah.
He died in 94.
I remember that, yeah.
But I mean, I remember hearing Nevermind, and just I have a couple of stories about the first time hearing that. And I have a few deep regrets about concerts that I skipped because I was like, whatever. And my biggest one is when Nirvana was touring Nevermind. I was in grad school in Nashville, Tennessee. And the closest they were coming through on that tour was Atlanta, which is a 4-hour drive, and you have to go over the mountain pass. They were touring with the Breeders, who I loved. Especially back then, they helped me survive grad school in Nashville, Tennessee. But I had a test exams, and I was like, I'll catch them on the next tour.
Oh.
So I never saw Nirvana. That is such a heartache for me.
Well, it made me think of there's this old interview, obviously old because he's no longer with us, with Kurt Cobain, and he's being interviewed about ticket prices. And somebody said something, and I mind you, obviously it's the 90s, but he said something about like $70. Would you pay $70? And they were like, $70? We would never charge anyone that much. That's so much money. And they were just saying like how people were getting greedy with ticket prices, and they're like, no way, no, that's insane. Everyone should be able to come to our shows. Like, you shouldn't have to be rich. And it was this, and I like Kurt Cobain, excuse me, Kurt Cobain was ahead of his time in so many ways.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Smart guy. And it's really unfortunate what happened. My mom, sorry, just really quick. My mom sent me a couple of photographs just now. I'm just going to throw up on screen of Steven Van Zandt. That he was performing at the same concert as me.
Hold on. Nicole Walter entered the studio. Let's bring her in.
Excellent. And also, Michelle, I love your mom.
I don't see her on screen yet. Just FYI.
Okay. Yeah, she's not on screen
yet. Give her a second. Yeah. So here it is. There's Steven Van Zandt there. And I believe, I can't remember his name. I think he was in the Rascals, I think, the guy on the right, I think. But then that's another Donnie Kerrs on the left. But yeah, that's him. And Steven Van Zandt. He was performing the same thing. And my mom just like randomly sent me those two photos of it that she took on her like throwaway camera or something.
I think we should add Nicole in and tell her she's not on screen. So let's do that now.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited.
Hey,
I also wanted to.
Nicole's also not hearing us for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, StreamYard.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's take her out, see if we can like send her an email.
Yeah. Dana, can you send her? Yeah.
Sure. Do we want to tell her to drop out and come back in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I see a private chat here. Fixing my camera. Got it. All right.
Okay.
Give us a heads up when you're ready to come in.
Great.
While we're waiting, can I tell you my best met them on the street story?
Yes, please.
Because I have a really good one. And it should be there's, I've met a lot of musicians. I ran a music website for years. I live in Seattle. It's a big music town. But my best one is not in Seattle, nor is it a Seattle-based musician. I went to South by Southwest for 2 years back in the day, and was leaving a showcase I'd put on in the afternoon, kind of high on bourbon and rock and roll and excitement and blah, blah, blah. And I turn the corner and I see this small group in the middle of the street, because all the streets are blocked off for South by. And I'm like, who are those people talking to? And in the middle is the woman who I came to South by Southwest to stalk and see, Amy Winehouse.
Wow.
And she was like, it was 2007. She was so tiny. So hold on. I wrote about it. The story's on Medium. This is a friend link I put in the chat. You can see the photo of me with Amy. She was so sweet because she was like on the cusp of international stardom. She was huge in England. And just kind of coming to the US. But a friend of mine had given me the UK release of Back to Black, and I was obsessed with it. And she was already getting that reputation for being drunk and canceling shows. But I saw her there twice, and it was like transcendent. I mean, she played with the Dap Kings, the late Sharon Jones's band, and they were just like in these tiny rock clubs.
That album had me in a chokehold.
It still does.
Like, I listened to it backwards and forwards. I mean, that was right when we had the iPods for the first time too. And I remember just being able to like go back and listen to it over and over again when I was like on the treadmill or something. And like, man, you were going through a breakup or something and you had that album on. Woo, girl. So
the
good.
Best.
So
and
good.
So
do you like Ray?
I don't really know Ray that well. I probably should.
She's like, so I feel it's funny. I was telling one of my best friends who happens to also be a wonderful gay man who stands up for women, I told him about Ray, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And then maybe a year and a half ago, he's like, have you ever heard of Ray? I was like, bitch, I told you about her. I was like, I told you about her first. And he's like, I'm going to see her in London. And then a couple weeks ago, he, I don't know, took a gummy and decided to buy tickets to go see her again in London. I was like, who
Oh my God.
buys tickets? He's like, I'm childless and gay and I have, you know, disposable income. I was like, you know what?
Right.
Work it. And he's like going by himself. He's like going
Oh my
by himself
gosh.
to London to just go see her. And she has this amazing song. If you guys haven't heard it, it's called "Where Is My Husband." It's the catchiest song, and she performs it with an entire full orchestra, and it's
Okay, I'm Googling that.
incredible. It's incredible. If we didn't get a copyright strike, I would totally play it on here.
I have it pulled up to play when we get done here.
Yeah,
so that
her
I can
performance
hear
on the
her.
Graham Norton show.
Oh, yeah.
The best.
Okay.
Did you watch Graham Norton?
I
think a woman who has
intermittently
experienced
look
of
at-
sexual
Oh,
assault
what
was go to the
No, remove. I don't know
Hello?
what that was. What happened? What happened? What happened?
I don't know.
I don't know what happened either.
Can you?
I don't know.
Julie's on the phone, so she's muted. I think traveling, like music, is one of the best excuses to travel.
I agree. Totally.
All right,
And
I
I definitely want to be your friend.
Task Rabbit here, which was supposed to come at 11:30, but he came early, so I told him he can't come up yet because we're doing
Womp
the show.
womp.
Womp womp.
All right, but Nicole is
Nicole's
here.
here.
Excellent. Bring her on.
I'm going to do this. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
We
Yes,
can. It is
Fabulous.
so
Oh, I feel like I should adjust my ratio so you guys can see like my whole head. Hello.
Right, there's always the adjustment when you first come on.
Oh
You have
no,
to, like-
sound.
We can hear you.
I can hear you. I can't hear everyone else though.
Can you hear me?
hear?
Yes, there it
Me?
is.
All right, perfect.
Perfect.
We are so glad to have you here. I'm Julie. To your left is Michelle. To your right is Dana. We are so thrilled. Well, for a number of reasons. First of all, we're thrilled that you dethroned Andrew Tate.
Yes.
I love like every part of that makes everybody's heart here happy.
Oh,
Yes.
it was
Yes.
amazing. There's actually like nuance to it that's even better. So
Please.
when
Please
this
tell
whole
the
thing
story.
happened, you know, I wake up and well, first and foremost, well, am I going back to move forward? I mean, we all know Andrew Tate came to Substack and we were just like, why? Why is he, first of all, why is he even in existence? Right. You know,
Right.
like just to begin with. But when he came to Substack, I remember seeing him top new bestsellers. And I'm really new to Substack. I've literally been there for, I think, 19 days. Right.
Oh, wow.
And I see that he topped it and I was like, oh, hell no. Right? Like just, oh, hell no. Like, because he thrives off attention. He thrives off visibility. And it was an ill-gotten win. Like you uploaded your email list and called yourself top of anything, which apropos, that's very much his move, right? Like I'll just say it is, and then it is so to my 13-year-old boy followers. Y'all, when I saw this, I said, if there's anything I can do, I was like, I have got to write something that is super hot fire, activate my people. We need to do something. And then sure enough, the next day, I saw that, you know, we'd unseated him and he'd gone down to like 4 or 5 or something like that. And I was like, and so it wasn't just me, but you know, like we stood, like everyone collectively sufficiently pushed him down. And it was a beautiful thing to know that while I don't love that he knows my name, I love that he knows my name.
Yeah. Remember my name, by the way.
I mean, every part of this is
Yes.
amazing. We love that it was a woman. We love that it was a woman who is over 40, which all of us are.
Yes.
Says like, screw him and his incel weirdo, like
All the bullshit. And it's like,
racist
oh, wait, do we
bullshit,
curse
like-
here? Okay, we curse. I was gonna say,
Oh, yeah.
no, all the bullshit. Like the fact that I'm black, the fact that I'm a woman,
Yes.
the fact that I think I'm still hot. So as much as he wants to say like, oh no, you're gonna be some washed up, you know, woman who's out there working a job, like, sir, I I consider myself medium famous. I'm not famous, so I'm medium famous, right? I am the antithesis of everything that he claims doesn't exist.
Yes.
And there's no way you're coming for me. Sir, I've had TV shows where you haven't. I'm a New York Times bestseller where you're not. I'm Emmy nominated where you're not. I have 4 kids, 3 of which I adopted, 1 of which I had biologically. Like, please try me. You know what I mean? Like, what is it?
Oh my God.
I'm married. Like, I'm super well, black don't crack, and also strategically placed Botox. This is what it gives. But thank you. So it's like, I would love for him to try to say that, you know, women over 40s, I'm on that millennial zennial line, you know, and try to tell us that we can't be successful and do the thing and be smart and capable and have incredible marriages and all of that. And the article that unseated him that I wrote was all about disclosure from a SA situation that I went through and overcame within my previous marriage and divorced my ex-husband. So the very thing he promotes, sexual coercion, violence against women, all of that was the very article that unseated him from the place that he had and kept me there for a full week. So, I mean, love over hate any single day. And I pray that little foreskin looking man, you know, is miserable every single day of his life. I can't stand him. I can't stand him at all. Like, I can't even.
Man.
He's like, he's just so, he's insecure. He's immature. He's violent. You know, it's just, they're all in this like regressed teenage state forever. And I hate that they even got visibility. So
I don't understand. Like, last I checked, Andrew Tate was imprisoned in Romania for like trafficking. What is he doing hanging out in Florida now? Like,
how is he outside?
I know.
Isn't that a Trump thing,
I
you
thought we were
guys?
trying to catch the criminals. Isn't that what they're saying? Right?
Yeah. Right.
Like, I don't think enough attention has been paid to this. Like, the Trump administration literally told him that he could come back, like pressured Romania to let him come here as he's like awaiting trial over there. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about this. Like,
and we had a UFC fight this last week when Donald Trump and Guy Fieri, I don't know if you guys saw this, Guy Fieri from the Food Network, like there was an iPhone video and he's shaking his hand and going, "Oh, I love you guys," to Andrew Tate.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, what? First of all, cancel that man. Second of all, the fact that he's like, it's just, and this isn't the first UFC fight that he's been to in the last, year or 2 years since Donald Trump's been president again. Why is he being not only just allowed, but welcomed by this manosphere? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And by Substack, like, we're all on Substack, but like, why is he even, like, at which point do we just stop allowing people who are literally rapists and traffickers of women? I don't understand.
I mean, let's just be honest. They don't care about women. They don't care about women. They don't care about children. Yeah. They're all grifters. It's, and what's sad is their prey are on people who don't know any better. And I mean, I'm not saying washing. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying that there is an IQ intellectual variable that exists, and we're just gonna call it what it is. And the level of understanding when you have the average reading level of the average American between 4th and 6th grade, it is specific prey, and it's dog whistles. If you listen to every other word, it feels like you really understand me, and that selective listening is very much where we are today. And, as I flew back to Georgia in November of 2024, not 8 and some change months pregnant at age 40. So I technically shouldn't have been on a plane just to be able to vote because they lost my absentee vote. And I was not playing. So I flew in and out and then came right back because I was like, this is how serious it is. And so, I mean, I did my part. I did my job. I've always been vocal. I've always been an activist, and it just blows my mind that just now some people are waking up and realizing that, especially Black women, we've been ringing the alarm from the beginning. We've been saying, hey, when you don't pay attention to what we say, like, for instance, during the whole Black Lives Matter, racial reconciliation, whatever moment of 2020, when that happened, we were saying, look, if you get comfortable with people, citizens, humans being killed in the streets, your turn will come next. And that is the whole argument we were making. And unfortunately, people could not understand that, or they couldn't get past the Black label over it to understand that Black women are always talking about rights and advocacy for all of us. Because we know that if in a world where a white woman is killed in the streets, when a white male nurse who works for a veterans administration is killed in the streets, we are not safe. We know we're not safe. We know we're going to be the ones to get it. When you're on the bottom and you can see full view of what's up there because you're not up top. And Andrew Tate is a great example of that. In a world where his platform and exists, we know that we're not going to be safe. And so I hope people listen. I hope people listen now.
Listen, I work in Democratic politics, and I will tell you as a white woman that Black women are the single biggest thing propping up this party and always have. Do you know that that Democrats have not won the white vote since Lyndon Johnson in 1964?
Wow.
Really?
Wow. And even with Lyndon Johnson, I mean, the fact that they won the vote then was still nuanced because he had a medium racist agenda. They thought that it was a plot twist, from JFK, and so he happened to fulfill a couple of things that JFK Jr. did just because of his positioning, you know what I mean? But ultimately, even that, was still an agenda of, we would like to advance our own interest, at the demise of others, which ironically is not in your interest anyways. So what are you doing? Oh my gosh.
Yet when a Black woman runs for president, it's like, oh heavens to Betsy, we can't. No, this is going too far. Like, what the F?
Yeah.
Like,
the notion. Look, when a white woman runs, it's like the notion, and getting to this point where, I had a video go viral recently where I got a comment on my Instagram from this guy who, because I'm in a space right now, I've never been like this before, but I think everyone understands, you get over 40, you go through perimenopause or actual menopause, and my ability to tolerate shit is so, don't even spell my name wrong at Starbucks. We're gonna have a conversation. Do you know what I mean? The fucks are not in the room with us. They've never existed. I cannot locate them. Do you know what I mean?
The fucks are not in the room with us.
T-shirts. When someone comments now on my page saying something racist, there was a guy who commented recently, and he made a comment about how the only reason why I even supported Kamala Harris was because I have grape jelly for brains and how I'm an idiot. I mean, people are just very emboldened now. And, people will again sane wash that and say it's a bot or it's someone who's dumb and doesn't know any better. Well, let's play the find out game. So I called him. I called him at work and I said, hey buddy, do we have a bad day? What's going on? Why would you call something like that? What was the reason? Because I'm right here. Yeah. Oh, how did I find him? Google. I can find you. Everybody's out here, and people use their real names, and they connect. They use work pages to interact.
Men use their real names.
It's
right?
stupid.
Women. This is not my real last name that you're seeing on the screen.
Oh, I can't hear you. I don't know why, but I don't have sound on Dana.
This happens to me a lot. I'm
going
to drop and come back.
Yes.
Or it just happens on Substack a lot, not just to me, but I'll be right back.
Okay. No worries.
Listen, that's actually a great idea just to locate them. And also when people.
Well, it's not for everyone. I'm not advocating showing up at racist doors, but I mean, when I reach out to him, when I tell you the way that he cowered and moved back, which is very much Andrew Tate mode, you know what I mean? If that's what I'm saying is say it to my face. You know what I mean? And when I called him, he sure enough was like, well, I like grape jelly. No, so it wasn't even really because I actually because I have Black friends. It was he had the bingo card for things that racists say. I have a Black friend. I actually didn't mean it as an insult. Well, I'm racist to everyone equally. So it doesn't really matter. It was just ding, ding, ding. And I was just sir. And I was as long as you're clear on it, as long as you know who you are, no problem. And I posted that bad boy. And then I'm going to get phone calls from people who work with him saying, oh, the workplace has been getting phone calls all day. We can't work. It's so disruptive. Well, I can't live because your racism's disruptive. Get out of my phone.
Right?
Get out of
me now.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Awesome, Data.
Hooray.
Yeah, I gotta say, there are all these men. How many times do you get called this? Or at least me on Twitter. How many times do I get called the C word every day?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
And I'd love to be and it's all these men, or they're you're old, you're fat, you're thin.
Oh yeah, that's what they go for first. Yeah,
They all have fake pictures on there
every time.
the car because it's not like they want to disclose what they look like.
Yep.
There's a whole part of me that's like, you know what?
Right.
Why don't we call your workplace and let them know that you refer to women as the C word? Like, I'm sure your colleagues would love to know that.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely.
Yeah, there's such a sense of impunity about this kind of way of treating women online. And it's like, you're absolutely right. The racism, the misogyny,
Yes.
the all of it, the constant like focus on looks and the constant focus on what you look like and the ages and all this bullshit. And you're like, yeah, okay. Unless you're Kim Kardashian, and even there, they're going to comment on the way you look. Like, there's constant bullshit from these men who are like, really? Let's see what you look like in real life.
And also, like, as if our looks are all, the fact that you think that my looks are the only value that I offer to the world, you're crazy. And make no mistake, there's not a single person on this panel that's not hot. And even if you try to say that we're fat, all I hear is that we have ass for days, okay? And in my culture, this is a good thing. Okay, so I'm like, I'm like, you're coming for me for things that aren't even my insecurity. You know what I mean? Tell me that I don't know how to sort my laundry correctly. Maybe you'll get some tears out of me. Okay, I'm working on it. Like, come for something that's a real area of insecurity, but telling me I'm not hot, you're wild. I look so good. Like, you are absolutely delusional. Like, you need to go get your eyes checked. I hope you have insurance coverage. Because
you do look amazing.
I know.
And it is a wonder. Yeah, being told how is it okay if I say drop an F-bomb here, ladies?
Yes, please.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Are we? Yeah, being told we're unfuckable by you, sir, is not a problem.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You couldn't even.
Right, you could not.
Like, by the way, don't worry about it.
I need this every day in my life, Nicole, but this week especially.
Yeah.
Am I cutting in and out again, you guys? I may give up and just go upstairs in my house if I'm cutting in and out.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna.
But very much the truth. I think that there's this concept that, again, we're only reduced to what we can do for men, or that, you know, our value is positioned next to our desirability, you know, and that those are the things that, when it's like, I understand it's all a result of the fact that we have, as a collective, said, yeah, we don't even really care. Like, we just don't care. You know, like, there's nothing scarier than this whole generation of millennials that have grown up on the internet and are now entering with our voice, specifically with a very simple message. We don't care about you. The male gaze is not centered anymore. That is terrifying to them.
Yeah, and we don't need you. Well, we don't need you to provide for us anymore.
At all.
We need you to show up with emotional strength and to have interests and to be kind.
Yeah.
And still, the bar is failing.
Right.
The bar is so low. It's so sad. And it's sad also because when you think about it, you're like, you know, what we're asking you to show up with, like, this idea that all we want are rich, muscly, like, you know, the Andrew Tate trope, right?
6 foot, muscly, 6 pack.
6'6" guys. Well, I don't even know where the ethos went around that, you know, women only like tall men. Like, there just aren't even that many. Most of us are married to a guy who's between like 5'6" and maybe 5'11". You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know. So it's like weird because I'm like, you guys are so obsessed with yourselves that it's actually like Ouroboros, like, bastardizing itself. It's incestuous. Like, you created these parameters that we don't even care about that are now eating your own parameters while we're over here literally eating lemon bundt cake and cackling, you know, over books and reading Glennon Doyle. Like, what are you even saying? Just read a book and maybe you'll be good.
Oh my God.
Speaking of cackling, can we talk about Caitlyn Jenner for a second? Talk about FAFO.
Yes.
Yeah. Caitlyn Jenner is bitching and complaining because she can no longer travel internationally because her passport, when she renewed it, came back with an M for gender, male, because that was she was assigned at birth. Oh, I'm so sorry, Caitlyn Jenner.
Did you fuck around and find out?
Literally.
and
yourself to the wrong road.
Right? This is what she said. This is a safety factor, okay? I can't travel internationally anymore. I don't blame President Trump. I love him. But for a lot of people, this is a huge issue.
I don't blame the person who did this.
And then this is what I said. She said she left a note for Trump with the Secret Service when I was visiting Mar-a-Lago 2 months ago, but still hasn't heard back. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's possible that he used you for his bullshit and now doesn't give a shit about you anymore, Caitlyn Jenner. Like, this makes my heart sing. I feel very sorry for every other person in the situation except Caitlyn Jenner. Don't
I
feel
actually
sorry.
think this fits into a
1,000%.
nice, clean little category,
Yeah.
not just the FAFO category, but the pick me category,
Mhm.
where you've
Yes.
got this whole contingent right now that is trying to appeal to this demographic that never liked you. So the idea that you're reaching out and you're saying, hey, I'm Latin and I realized that you deported my spouse and you said you were going for criminals, I voted for you, help. Or the Candace Owens of the world who are realizing that the one grift didn't work, and so now we're shifting to another grift, where we're going to criticize this way. It's of the same contingent. And the thing about it is I can criticize Caitlyn Jenner without dead naming her or misgendering her, right? I can still say that what she's doing is damaging, it is harmful, it is disrespectful to the people that she could actually be a champion for. She can go into rooms that other people cannot. And every single day, trans women are being killed, literally killed for existing. You have a right to live, within your body as a person. And the idea that she's spending her time talking about her passport while still in a place of privilege, she's still protected by her whiteness. She's still protected by her wealth in so many ways. And she's sitting here complaining about her passport when she had a chance to vote so that this would not happen. She should have just sat there and ate her food. Minded your business. Sit there and eat your food.
To vote and champion.
Yeah.
Right? She could have voted. She had access to the rooms and leaders that could have made things better for everyone. And she's still defending them. She's
because I really believe her whiteness superseded everything else. I think she said, I am protected because I'm white. And it also gave that she's basically like finding out what it's like to be marginalized and to be a woman. Like you're getting the full experience. Welcome. The trial period is over. You're getting the full experience of what it's like. Right? This is what it is. They don't listen to us. No. They don't care about us. They're violent. Here you go.
And the fact
I'm going to drop and log in upstairs because the connection is driving me crazy. I'll be back in like 3 minutes. Oh, I'm going to miss you guys. But I'll catch up when I get back.
No problem. And I got to go in a minute because my task rabbit is here. But I will say this. Sorry.
Real life. It's like
I literally moved yesterday, Nicole, and so I need somebody to. Yeah, I know. I'm literally sitting here surrounded by boxes. So,
but I love that the first thing I see are books unpacked in the back. Like it says so much about who you are.
It's all books. But anyway, so the point is, we also want to talk to you about your incredible. First of all, I love the fact that you own all the success. Love it. Women need to do it more.
We should. They want us to be embarrassed about it.
They want us
to make it
or to be humble.
That we don't have it. We
And you're not. You got divorced. You totally recreated your life at the age of 40. You adopted 3 kids and had your own biological kid after 40. I love every part of this. And then you're telling other women how to manage their money and basically like own their financial power. Like, speak. Go.
Yes. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I always say is like, I don't advocate for billionaires. We don't need more billionaires. That is just the reality of it. But what I will say is that money, the intention of money is to give you options. It's not so that you can cause harm. It's not so that you can be out in the world doing terrible things. But I absolutely believe that there are horrible people who have money with no intention for good. Money is good in the hands of women because we do good things with our money. We give it back to our children. We give it to our communities. We take care of ourselves in a world that doesn't take care of us. And so I am a huge advocate for women having money because we know how to use it for the greater good of all of us. And so, that's where I come from. Start that small business, monetize your side hustle, ask for more money at your job, get paid, because the shame that goes along with it, is by and large part of this systemic issue to keep us oppressed. And we have the power to help each other to get out of it.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been told our whole lives.
Oh, sound is out. I can't hear. Can you hear her, Julie?
Oh no. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I don't know. It's on my end then.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer. Well, I was going to say we've been taught our whole lives to kind of, it's rude to talk about money. Don't talk about money. It's rude to talk about money. And I feel like that's held women back from actually having conversations about financial freedom. I think it's now
it's just the two of us and I can't hear you.
That's a problem. Well, then you guys can listen to me talk to my task rabbit guy. So
okay.
I love it. I know, like roll the tape.
I know.
So this is exciting for me just because this is my first official Substack live chat community thing. So I don't know if people tend to be in the comments chatting, conversing. I see that the thread is going a little bit. So I would love to hear more about why people show up to these. Tell me in the comments, right? And say, why do we like the community? Why are you here? What are you learning? Because then you can get me up to speed. So, and I love this. Everyone's like, I'm in Portland, I'm in Queens. Look at you guys in your blue states, enjoying your rights, having your uterus. Look at you.
I know. I know you can't hear me, but if you're on YouTube and you have a question for Nicole, please put it in the chat.
I am back. I am back.
Okay.
I am back.
Hello. That was quick.
Yeah. Well, he's here, so I had to just set him up because I don't know how to mount a TV. So somebody just came over.
Oh, me neither. It's the right thing to do. Like plot twist. I tell everyone, like TaskRabbit for all of even my furniture assembly. It's not that I can't do it. Is that the best use of my time? Like I always say, like my life is $10,000 problems, not $10 problems. So it's like if I can delegate that out to someone who can do it better, more efficiently, then I can focus on where I need to focus. So
100%, because I have a husband who is totally useless when it comes to any kind of anything.
Any of those things.
Those things. And so why not call TaskRabbit, who by the way are not that expensive.
Yeah, exactly. And also gig economy. A lot of people right now are struggling, and it really helps, the everyday person supplement their income, support their families, especially if you're ethical in your hiring. So you pay them a rate that's fair, no matter what they ask for, you can always tip. And then also offer them the restroom, give them some water, feed them if they're there for several hours, particularly after 4 hours, like treat people the way you want to be treated. So use the gig economy, but treat people the way you want to treat them.
Yeah, agreed.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. We can talk about how Trump got rid of 75% of Black officials and independent agencies, and also how they're not promoting Black officers because we're government fucking great.
And 600,000 Black women have been laid off, just across the nation, especially with the elimination of, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And it's what we expected, because we're easy to target based on the way that we look. So the assumption is, granted, 92%, the assumption is probably right. But if you look at us, you assume that we may not be in support of this administration. And the thing that I want to say just really transparently about that is we're not surprised. I'm not speaking, we're not a monolith. I'm not speaking on behalf of all Black women, but I can tell you the Black community is not surprised that this happened. But what we're watching and waiting for is, again, we are so much of the infrastructure of companies. We are so much of the backbone, and we are thought leaders. We do the work in so many different ways to get where we are. And the impact will be felt. It's kind of how I feel about, I live in LA, the community out here is so diverse. The LGBTQIA plus community is immersed in so many different industries. It is felt when they decide not to participate. Okay, things are less beautiful. They are less smart. They are less creative. They are less funny, and you guys remember the writer's strike? We felt that. Things were less funny. Things were less good. And so it's like, if people want an unseasoned, unflavored, misfunctioning world, have at it. We'll leave, but we're taking our seasonings with us. Enjoy your oatmeal and toast.
Oh my gosh. This is so interesting. I know you're new to Substack. Do you follow Zuri Stevens?
No, I have to, though.
Oh, she's amazing. Her publication is called We Need a Black Woman in Charge. And she was on the Daily Whatever. She was on the Daily Whatever show Thursday with another guest, Zulfina, who goes by Letters from a Feminist. And we were having a whole conversation about intersectional feminism. And what Zuri said that hit me so hard was she works in public health, or she did. She doesn't have her job anymore. She talked about the same statistic you just did. And it's not just that DEI programs have gone away and that DEI has become like a naughty word almost. It's that her company was reluctant to put her forward in the public health space because of the assumption that she was a DEI hire. And they didn't want to be perceived as being DEI friendly simply because of how she looked. And that was like a next click down I hadn't considered. And it's horrifying. That is
horrifying.
And God, just I have no power here other than elevating other people's voices wherever possible. But
that's huge.
Acknowledging it sucks.
You know, well, I like, and you guys may not know this, so I'm going to do a little shine time on Dana. So understand that it's very, very clear if you are a Substacker, you can see who's on the top and all of that. Dana is one of the only people who reach out to me, you know, and I've been, you know, number one bestseller. Oh yeah, number one bestseller for several weeks. You know, I've been interchanging back and forth. I'm number one in my categories. You know, I've had a multi six-figure rise to Substack in only 14 days. Nobody's saying anything. But if I was a white male, the thought pieces that would be out there, the discussions about how I am just an innovative, brilliant thinker, how I'm a genius, all that. But this is something Black women are used to, you know, and so what we do is we move quietly and we consistently, you know, perform the way we needed to. You know, I know that there's a lot of discussion around whether or not Substack shouldn't even platform, you know, people, like, which we all agree, right? Tate shouldn't even have a chance to be out, like, get them out, you know. But I'm also aware that, you know, in the interest of free speech, although this isn't really that, you know, it's hate speech, but in the interest of giving people a place to speak, if you will, you know, that Substack is navigating that piece by piece, you know, as a newer platform. Yeah. But when I tell you, I am so grateful to you because this, at a bare minimum, giving us a place to share, saying, hey, you know, we are aware of our privilege. We are aware that we have a microphone. We are aware that your voices are not elevated often, and you still have something to say, if not at times the originator of the thing that was being said, you know, and giving us a place to say it is, you know, definitely step one in making sure that change happens.
But you know
it's
what,
literally why I set my alarm for 5:30 in the morning so I can get up and platform people. Thank you. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what are you doing Tuesday? I totally want you to come on the Daily Whatever show too, because you have to meet Lawrence, my partner. We've been best friend for over 40 years.
And my gosh. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Next week is our 1-year anniversary week. And I want, how did you do this? And like, we've been here for a year. Of course, we were not coming as best-selling authors as you are, but like, how did you hit number one in just a few weeks? I don't know how many tricks of the trade you can share, or
I share
what you want to
all
disclose here, but that's huge. Like, all the kudos to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I share all the things. So that's the other part too, is, you know, I know that I have no problem sort of tooting my own horn or like flexing my things and all that. But part of it is because I don't gatekeep. Like, if people want to know, I will tell you, because I absolutely believe we all can attain, you know, granted, we're all facing different systemic issues. We're all facing different hardships, you know, and carrying cards that we did not ask for. But I absolutely believe we all have access, if we share openly, both the money, the opportunity, the tools. So let me into the boardroom, because I'm gonna come out and tell everybody what I saw. You better wipe the whiteboard, because I'm taking screenshots and bringing it back to my friends. You know what I mean? So this is truly,
Nicole, you're hired. You're hired.
Yeah. Good, because they're not hiring us anymore, Dana. Give us a job.
Inclined. If I had, I am being literal and serious that I will pay for your time, because I want to learn all your secrets. And if I had a job to give you, I would hire you in a heartbeat. I do a lot of, I used to do a lot of hiring where I work at my day job. Not so much these days, because look at the economy, but hire you in half a second. But keep going. You notice I've been very quiet. I'm a big talker, but I'm like, girls got this. Keep going.
Oh my gosh. No, I have to say, I do believe in it's sort of twofold, right? One, let's acknowledge the issue, you know, and I think that that's part of the issue of what we're running through right now, is there is a lot of acknowledgement and awareness happening, you know, and like, we have an issue, we have a DEI problem, we have this, you know, all of that. But then the other issue is, what are we going to do about it? Let's get the smartest people in the room and listen to them. And then if you want to throw in like a little bonus sprinkling, you know, on top, it's, how are we not gatekeeping? You know, so when I look at other women, all I can think to myself is, if you are successful, I have 4 daughters, right? 4 Black daughters. And so when I look at my girls, I want them to grow up in a world where Danas have microphones. You know, that's all I think about. You know, it's like, I want them to grow up in a world where, you know, if Dana has a microphone, I know that if she is safe to be able to carry one and is platformed and people follow her and they love her and they share what she does, then the odds are better my girls will get one. And even better, I know that Dana will still look out to hand hers over to them. That's a good thing for me. So if you're successful, it's beneficial to me, and so knowing that we have that intersectionality is I think key, instead of seeing ourselves as each other's enemy. And this nature of brewing competition that is trying to be fostered by the Andrew Tates of the world. That's what they're doing, by the way, y'all. Like, if you don't realize it, it's simply trying to create animosity within our but within the liberal party, if you will, or within
That's what
women.
the algorithm wants. That's what
They want.
Yeah.
That's what they want. And if we, again, start eating ourselves the way they eat themselves, that's when we run into these issues. But if we're smart enough to say, like, hey, I'm Xing you out, Andrew Tate. So I'm talking to Dana. Dana, here's how I made more money. That's less money for Andrew, which I question if he even has it anyways, because who has 1.1 million subscribers on Substack and doesn't even have 100 of them paid? Like, you're telling on yourself. The data and stats are telling on themselves. You're everything here is manufactured and not real.
Does he not have a check mark?
Oh, girl, he had a hollow check mark that was it was the indication that it was less than 100 subscribers. Like, and I have some behind the scenes people who told me that he had 38 subscribers while he was topping when he first entered into the page. How do you have 1.1 million free subscribers and only 38 paid?
You import a mailing list. That's how.
That's what
bigger
you do.
question. The bigger question is
grifter.
What? He's a grifter, yes. But so the Substack algorithm for how you get on new bestsellers is a mystery. I've been here just a year, and at the beginning I charted here and there, and the Daily Whatever Show, my podcast, was also, because I am me as a memoirist, as I write out loud, and then I'm also this podcast, and I would pop in parenting or culture here and there, but most of my growth individually has come in 2026, and I have never charted on anything yet. And I'm like, okay, the space is getting more crowded, but it's I knew from when it was definitely tied to getting a paid to unpaid ratio. So how is Andrew Tate, if he has fewer than 100 subscribers, getting platformed? And I think the answer is Substack is putting him on the top of the list. It's probably the reason he came over, that he was like, I need to spend X number of days on the top of the list. Like that feels.
Well, Dana, when I look at it, I'd like to think that it's probably assigned by, like, the way I think of it is being assigned by points, right? This is what I've observed in watching the process. So, if you need to hit 100 points in order to get on the list, the way that I see it is, if you have a paid subscriber, that might be worth 70 points. If you have
that makes sense.
If the rate that you got free subscribers, if it's over 1,000, that assigns you another 30 or another 10 points. If you just have one free subscriber, that might be 4 points. So if you're someone who's organically growing from zero, that might be 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point over the span of days. And even though your numbers are effective, it's not enough to rank quickly. So it's, at least for me, what I observed from a business standpoint was it's a combination of the rate of paid, in addition to how quickly they come to the platform, and of course the frequency, like over the time frame. And I think that magic recipe is what gets you to track.
That middle one you said is probably a big part of it, is how many new people you are bringing to Substack, which for someone like me, that number was, I brought over a few hundred from Medium. I think it was very small. Right. That's what had him chart possibly. But also, I would also think that as someone who's worked in corporate tech, yada, yada, for years, like, they're dinking with the numbers if it's part of their contract. Absolutely. If someone of that magnitude comes in. So the fact that you've arrived in just a few weeks and hit the top of the charts like that, like, absolutely remarkable.
Thank you.
Here's something I like. Lawrence and I, my partner at the Daily Whatever Show, we like to always disclose as we learn, because we have learned everything we have learned in the scrappiest way possible. Yes. We've just been like, let's try this and see what happens. And we disclose it as we go. We bring, almost every day, we have at least one guest joining us. And what's really interesting is we've had guests with over 1 million people come on. And we've had guests with just, we've had guests with almost no people, or a few hundred or a few thousand, the whole gamut. And it's frequently the people who come in with those really huge followings that we get almost no new subscribers when we bring them on. And the numbers overall on the live are no different than maybe we bring in someone with 30,000 subscribers. And to me, it just speaks to who grew their platform here organically and has a loyal following who's checked in and interested, versus who imported a mailing list or bought a mailing list and just brought it to
Mhm.
Substack so that they instantly looked huge. I feel like I could write a white paper on that at this point. And I could tell you of the people who come on our show who we get lifts from behind the scenes. You know, like I'm not going to disclose that publicly because
Sure.
we love all of our guests,
Sure.
but it is so interesting to watch. And clearly you are someone who comes with a huge organic following who love you because you came on and instantly unseated Andrew Tate, who did it the unorganic way, the like, I got a mailing list, bro, here I am.
I know. Well, also, Dana, I think that we
Yeah.
all realize in this world of social media and people being platform, it's beautiful that it's now been democratized. I do love the idea that people who wouldn't have had access to changing the world now do. That is a great thing, but this also comes with it. You get people, I'm in LA, right? You get people who never should have microphones. Like we've all watched American Idol, you know, who never should have microphones that are singing, right? And we're just like, girl.
Michelle was an American Idol.
Oh my gosh, but I think, Michelle, you sing though. Like you actually sing, which is different. I can't sing to save my life, right? Like when I am in the midst of people singing happy birthday, I mouth the words just so I don't like offend. That's how out of key and pitch I will be because I do not want to mess up people's event, right? Like that's how much of a, like I cannot sing to save my life. So, but knowing this, hilarious. There is a little bit of that echo chamber delusion that comes because of the algorithm where you have these people who are, you know, have created and curated these worlds where they're affirming mediocrity. And there isn't this real life check of, look, writers are real writers. Like, can you string together a sentence? And I'm not like negating, I mean, I have my own thoughts around AI that are multifaceted, you know, but I'm not negating the fact that AI, again, just like in social media, has created a democratized tool where people are able to get their thoughts out in a different way. Like, sure. But it doesn't change the fact that and this may be my old zennial millennial brain, there's value in knowing the why behind the what and knowing how to do things from its root. And you get these people like Andrew Tate who come in with fabricated audiences of 13-year-old boys who can't get their mom's credit card to be a paid subscriber, you know, and they're getting this visibility that they never should get, which because it's based off of followers. And this is why I always talk about this thing called niche notoriety. And I always like to give this to women and to marginalized people who are trying to build a platform so that they can stop looking at the big numbers, you know, stop being like, even though you're able to flex like, you know, bestseller, this bestseller, that, look, selling 100,000 books to change people's life and never making New York Times matters more and is far more impactful than making that dang list that is run by men, that is run by white men, that is run by billionaires, you know, and it's a beautiful privilege to be able to be amongst the most visible on that list, but make no mistake, it doesn't identify your work as valid, necessary, or meaningful.
And it's also much like Substack.
Oh my God, Nicole, we're keeping you. I'm in love. You're one of us now. I'm so like, I can't tell you, like, I reached out to you and was like, I'm never going to hear back from Nicole. She's number one on the bestseller list. I'm just going to reach out and see what happens. And that you just wrote back right away and are instantly here. I mean, I felt that way. Julie, when did I first reach out to you? I think our podcast was like 4 or 5 months old. And I was like, there is no way I'm getting Goddess Julie Roginski to say yes on our show. And you were like, we'll totally come on your show. This is the beauty of Substack is like,
Dana, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, look, I will say this. First of all, I'll say this about the New York Times bestseller list because I actually know a little bit. I was never on it and I never wrote a book, but I know something about it. Yep. It is a weird, nobody knows how you get on the bestseller list. It is not a question of selling more books than anybody else. They have a weird algorithm. Or
really?
Yes. Oh, no. They decide like Amazon sales don't count, but small bookstore, independent bookstores count. Like it's all
really.
Yes.
Nothing is real. Everything's pretend, girl. Nothing's real. It's not based on talent, selling the best book, being popular, having good skin, an impeccable smile. If that was the case, you'd be on the list 10 times over, girl. Like it's not.
I would not.
It's real.
And I will also say this on Substack because I've made these bestseller lists. It is for me a question of how many paid subscribers you have versus they don't like what the Andrew Tate's a different category because they obviously love the notoriety. But if you had a list of 1 million subscribers and they're not paid, Substack has to pay to house those in the cloud. It is actually
They
a
do.
money
Yes.
It's a money loser for Substack. So they don't like that. They only want you to monetize those subscribers. Otherwise, they're wasting money on housing your million subscribers who are not paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they kind of encourage this stuff. And to your point, Nicole, what I love, and I think all of us can benefit from this more than anybody else in the world, especially the women out there who are out there, or anybody else who feels marginalized. I love the fucking self-confidence, because we don't lean into it enough. Like, we don't lean into
Yes. It's just true. That's the part that I think, a lot of people struggle with is, look, it's one thing to tell me like, I just don't know. I don't know about that thing being true. Sure. But if you know you did it, girl, you did it. Flex yo shit. Okay. Yeah. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise, because if it's true, it's true. If someone wants to argue with me about something that isn't true, like we can go back and forth on it. I can be like, and I also have no problem saying like, that's wrong. I didn't do it. Like, I don't know that thing. That isn't correct. But if it's true, do not let anyone cut you down or take you down from it. And especially when it comes to charging for stuff. Like you said, these lists, these things are so pretend. Follow the money. That's what that's about. When you look at Substack and a platform like that, that's why they want to encourage people to pay for that platform, which is why I made that list. I made that list because I brought over a lot of paid subscribers. People were more likely to convert onto other people's platforms. Yep. I brought in revenue, and thus they elevated me because they're like, hey, look, Nicole's doing it the right way. I know what I sound like. I know what I look like. I get into certain boardrooms because people think I'm Candace Owens, because my husband is white, because I sound like this, and because people know that I have a Christian background and a Christian belief system. But guess what? You got it all wrong. I'm not her. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the one or the two.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness, And so it's one of those things, though, that's the same thing with Substack. They want to elevate a certain visual image. You want someone on the list who brought in paid subscribers, who talks about things that seem kind of lukewarm, kind of, oh, she's talking about divorce. Look, see, she's right. I fit the algorithm. I fit the messaging. I fit what they want people to see. If you come on there talking about how Black women and marginalized people should have money, here's what you don't know about it, and here's where they should be. I have 1 million followers, but no one paid because I didn't even turn on my paid because I'm just giving away secrets for free. No one will even know you're there. They won't even know you're there. You know what I mean? Like, and that's intentional. It doesn't serve their interest. So Dana, you keep doing your great work. You keep flexing yo shit, okay? Because your people will continue to grow, and they'll become evangelists, and that's all that matters. It's why have you guys heard about Sharon McMahon? Do you guys know her? Do you follow her?
No.
Who is she?
I get to bring something of value to this conversation.
Oh my God. Everything you have said is of so much value, Nicole.
No, Dana, you think I'm your people? You will love this woman. Okay. So Sharon McMahon is known as America's government teacher, right? And when I tell you, this woman is like, she's also a Zennial. She's like a golden retriever. She's based out of Minnesota. She has a huge following on Instagram, and she runs the Preamble, which is one of the top Substacks in all Substack history, and it constantly charts at the top of the politics category. So
I'm following her right now.
She is everything, right? So this woman is she's a teacher, right? And teachers are like, God protect the teachers, the nurses, the educators, the social workers, underpaid, underappreciated people who are showing up for us every day and our babies. And so this woman, I'm not even kidding, has for the past, I want to say 5-6 years, been coming on to just teach us about the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
This is what it says in the paper. Yeah, she's massive. This is what it says in the paper. This is what it says in the thing. Here's how this is a thing. And when I say does it in the most fairly neutralized way, it's very moderate. It's basically saying, I will present the information and you make your decision. So if this administration says, hey, this is what the Constitution says, she'll say, hey, this is what the Constitution says. Are the two things they said the same? You know what I mean? And you can decide what you want. Y'all, she is going through this cancellation process right now by the extreme right, because she, one, has built an audience of people that are activated. Now, there are tons of people who speak to the government and teaching and all these good things that the left hasn't come for in a strong way. But Sharon activates money. So she has raised enough money. I think she's raised something like, I want to say $35 million over the course of the past 6 years for no political party, for teachers, for hurricane victims, for children, and no causes that one would even begin to say, like, it's like she raised money for the nuns taking care of orphans with their puppies and children eating ice cream foundation. Like, that's who she is. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you have a problem with it, what's wrong with you? She has canceled $400 million of medical debt for Americans.
Wow.
Oh my God.
400 million.
I love this. I love
So she
this.
activates money, and
Yes.
that is why they're canceling her. So she recently was canceled from speaking at a commencement at Utah Valley University,
Really?
because they said that she was controversial because when
Isn't that where Charlie Kirk was killed?
yes,
Wasn't
when
that-
Charlie, that is exactly where and she's already
So
spoken
she
there
got to
twice.
speak there. He got to speak there, but not her.
She already
Yeah.
spoke there twice. But she was
Yeah.
now named as the commencement speaker, and she was going to receive an honorary doctorate because they all had chosen to bring her in to say, look, this is someone who's speaking about, like, how poetic, right? You know, here we are in a place that, you know, that political rhetoric, you know, I have my thoughts about Charlie Kirk or whatever, but God, I wish I could say he was the worst of us. He might've been the most insidious of us, but he was the worst, you know, that sort of thing. But, you know, needless to say, you know, here's someone who was speaking on political issues, who was wrongfully, you know, murdered, you know, while speaking on political issues, you know, because nobody should be killed with a microphone in their hand because they have a microphone in their hand. That should never happen. And what happened to him was categorically wrong, even if I disagreed with what he said, right? And his values. And so she said
he should have had the same protections that every American should have.
Myself, that I want for my children. Like, he should be alive every single day for me to argue with him. You know what I mean? Like, that is the way it should
100%.
be. That is what America's founded on. And so when he was killed, you know, Sharon was moved to tears because she's just like me. It's terrifying and it hits different when you're a creator. You know what I mean? It's scary because we can see ourselves in that moment, and it hit her different. But she also said, look, I also want to say that this is some of the language that he utilized as direct quotes. So this is to help you understand as a government teacher why some people may not share in that feeling. They may not be grieving his loss while acknowledging the wrongful nature of what occurred. And so this is what she did, and they canceled her for that. They canceled her for crying about the fact that he died, but also sharing the fact that there were, you know, different perspectives on it, like a teacher that people have. You know what I mean? And so
yes. And I have to point out, this is like a pretty blonde woman too.
Oh,
like,
yes.
So many Black women have been canceled for saying peep about this. And I recognize my privilege as well, a very small stacker no one's paying attention to, but also as a white woman. This is like, you called her a golden retriever.
She's a golden retriever. She posts pictures of bald eagles. Like, what is happening?
But I do want to say this, and this is something that I think people don't get. There is study after study. McKinsey did a study on this. I believe the Harvard Business Review did a study of this. The more diverse your workplace, the better it does financially. And this is, as much as people are bitching about DEI right now, as much as people are saying that DEI is over and it's dead and we're not going to hire women, we're not going to hire African Americans or anybody else, you know, people of color or LGBT members of the LGBTQ plus community, the reality is that the more diverse your workplace, it is in the interest and the bottom line of these companies to hire more people like that. Like And the part that just astounds me is that, again, it's not like I'm making this up. McKinsey, I mean, these are the most, like, they came up with this. And yet,
it doesn't matter.
It's facts. It's just facts. And what's wild about it too is it's not even like, and I'll play into some stereotypic tropes. I don't want to be in a space or eat a meal where there wasn't a person of color or diversity there. I want my stuff seasoned. I want it gorgeous. I want it delivered excellently. I want it fabulous, you know, and I can honestly tell you that that is one of the beauties of diversity. When you're only speaking from your space, whatever you do is going to have that tunnel vision. It is going to be linear, and then you won't make as much money. Also, because women know how to do more with less by design. We have to fight for every grant. We have to fight for every dollar. We have to fight to be heard. So if you give us $1, we're going to turn it into 20. Why wouldn't you want us leading and organizing and raising money for anything you do. It's short-sighted, but that's okay because, you know, we're in America the season finale, you know what I mean? And we're all, you know, FAFO. It's a group project. We all failed. It was open book
Right.
test.
And we're being forced to eat oatmeal with not even any, there's no oat milk around or even
It
brown
doesn't even taste
sugar.
good going down. I'm so
No, it's
sad
just
saying that.
lumpy.
Yeah.
It's just lumps.
And
Ugh.
and like, why would you not want to be surrounded by people who have different perspectives from you? Like and Nicole, I don't know if you know this, probably not, but I spent a decade at Fox News as their in-house token liberal. And I have to
No way. Just to say we have one.
yeah, just to say that we have one, right? So
To their credit, though, they brought in a really sharp,
Oh,
well-spoken.
well, I mean, to their credit, I can only imagine what
Back
that was
then.
like. You were probably
no.
right.
Actually, it was great. It was great because I got to fight with the worst, you know, people on earth every single day, and you know, got to stick it to them. So that was fun. But what was interesting about that was I live in New York City. I live in the Upper West Side. When I started working there, I lived in Greenwich Village. So like, I'm surrounded by people who look like me and act like me. And I work in Democratic politics. So like, I never spoke to, this is even pre-MAGA, this started during the second Bush administration, but like, I never, ever, ever talked to anybody who wasn't like me. And I still say to this day, it was so worth it, despite the nightmare. It was so worth it because at least I got to experience the other side of the coin, which nobody ever does, right? And the reality, and they never, you know, they would go from their houses on Long Island to the studio in the city. So they never spoke to people like me because God forbid that ever be around liberals, right? So I say this because like you could extrapolate that to the larger sense of why we should all be around people who are not necessarily like us.
Yes.
It actually benefits you. And which is different from the whole pick me thing that Candace Owens is, which is like, Candace Owens realized she could never hack it, and I sincerely mean this because she tried.
Absolutely true. Just on paper. It's just a fact.
She could never hack it in the real world, so she had to go MAGA because she was the pick me African American woman MAGA because she'd never hack it anywhere else. And the reality is that people like her aside, it is helpful to be around people who don't think like you. It actually enriches your life.
Yeah, of course. And it's also wild because I think people lose sight of the fact that as Black people, we are forced to live DEI every day. And if people don't understand that, I live in a white world. So that means that unless I am seeking out, creating, or fostering spaces that are Black, or being within my Black community, I'm naturally forced to engage in DEI all the time. Whenever I go out, if I walk through, like a simple exercise I always try to tell people about the value of DEI is you don't even realize when you walk through the aisle. I don't shop at Target anymore, but if you walk through the aisle at Target, or if you walk through the aisle at Walgreens, or if you're going through just the makeup aisle for foundation, look for the darkest shade that you can find. Recently, it's gotten a lot better, but only after people like Rihanna released the Fenty Skin collection and showed there was a ton of money in offering an enhanced range because Black people have money too. But prior to that, I would go in, the best color I could find was toasted almond. And if I were to go to a certain, town or city in the Midwest and need makeup in a pinch, I can't just run to the store and grab what I need because it doesn't exist. I'm forced to navigate a white world where at every single turn, there are little teeny tiny microaggressions that make it clear that I am not thought of in the room. And I'm not asking everyone to adjust and modify on my behalf. I'm just asking for the awareness that this may exist. And that's why you want Black people and diversity in the room, because we see the gaps, because we live the gaps every day. We know what it's like to be in the, we're not just coming in to say, hey, this is what we're saying in the Black community. We're coming in to say, hey, by the way, we also see the LGBTQ community is not acknowledged here because we can be that. Like people don't know, I converted to conservative Judaism, probably like 10 years ago. Before I ended up converting, it's crazy. Before I ended up converting back to Christianity, I went through a whole thing. So my first crush,
I want to hear all about that another time.
So
me too.
My first crush in elementary school was Eli Berman. Oh my gosh, it's been that ever since. So, but that being said, converted to conservative Judaism, and my old father-in-law was a cantor. But when I went through my conversion process, right before I dipped in the mikvah, they sat me down and looked me in the face, and the first thing they said to me was, "Are you ready to be part of the most hated group of people in the world?" And I looked at them in the face and I said, look, I'm Black. Like, I know what it's like to go someplace and have someone deny me service, look at me funny, follow me around the store, at least being Jewish is something that people won't see from the outside. And
two of the three people on this call with you are Jewish by birth. So
you understand.
Yeah.
I mean, you understand. It's like, this is something about, I think, part of why the Jewish community, I think, has been so intertwined beautifully in so many ways. I know that it's a very complex rhetoric right now, but the people, the culture, the faith are not the government of their people either. So I always try to make sure that's very clear. But, the Jewish community and the Black community has been intertwined for so many years because there is that shared understanding of what it looks like and what it feels like to be persecuted both financially, physically, and through career and work in so many different ways. And so, I say this to, acknowledge that when people hear DEI and they're afraid to have a Black face or a brown face or a woman or someone who's LGBTQ in the room, it's not that you are just taking out the identity of the person who's carrying that message. You're actually taking out the person who may be an advocate for who else isn't in that room. So it's like, it's just a really dumb move. You know what I mean? Like you could be hurting yourself. If you're a woman, you want any woman in that room. Anyone, because your odds are better that you'll be thought of. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I would layer on top of that, you want someone older in the room too. Like
yes,
I have worked in, tech marketing, content kind of roles for many, many years. And jobs were always like, I know people and one job would come in another. But it wasn't until I was in my 40s and I got laid off and was like, I'll find another job. And I went through almost 6 months, 14 full interview loops until I finally got a yes. And the only reason I think that one was a yes was because there were women over 40 on the loop. All the other ones, there were none. And to this day, if I walk into an interview and I see the loop and there is no one over 40 on the loop, I know I will not be considered. And so when I got to where I am, there's like a group of interview experts who help out. And I was like, I'm getting on that committee because I want people to see my face.
Yes. Yes. And also being over 40 is so important too. The person.
Yeah. And I'm well over 40 now.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
you know what, guys? It's actually more insidious than that. It's not even an ageist thing from the perspective we don't want older people. It is also an income thing. Like we're working, my nonprofit's working on a bill right now to get rid of forced arbitration for age discrimination. And the problem is, and we testified about this on the Hill, alongside, this is a harrowing story, a nurse who was in her 60s, who was like the main nurse in this hospital in Ohio. And she was like beloved by everybody. She got laid off in favor of a 25-year-old because they could pay the 25-year-old half of what they were paying her.
They also save on health insurance. People don't talk about that. The older people get health insurance policies.
All the years of experience that she had in nursing was out the window. It's not that this 25-year-old isn't great. It's that this 25-year-old just doesn't have the experience and the life experience and also the medical experience to have done the same work as this woman. And yet it didn't matter because she was so much younger and they paid her, I think, literally half of what they paid this woman because she had 20 years.
But who do you want caring for you?
Well, and also I say that all the time. We all go to, like, if you go to medical school, you've learned the practicalities of what it takes to be a doctor. I don't want a doctor that hasn't gone through residency. I don't want a doctor that hasn't seen a patient, even though you technically get your coat and your degree and you are a doctor after that. I want a doctor that's done this surgery, this procedure so many times. Not to mention that also, like, not knocking, again, there are young ingenues who are proteges who come out and knock it out of the park. And younger people, I have daughters who are, because I adopted my first three, are 27, 23, they're in this world right now fighting for their lives. Okay. And they are brilliant and capable and deserving. And, I absolutely see their value in what they bring. They're teaching me so much, like they even taught me, I used to say minorities because that's what I grew up with as being the progressive sensitive language. And they corrected me to saying, Mom, we say marginalized because people of color are not actually minorities. There's more people of color in the world, it's just, and that's language that's utilized to foster a perspective. You're actually just marginalized. And I was like, thank you, my kids. You know what I mean? So but also as an older woman being in the room, I think what a lot of people forget is that we are coming in with a work ethic and years and decades of experience things that we have touched and places we've gone, you know, a confidence level, you know, that, I mean, every woman will tell you, we miss our 20s because we like good knees, you know, we liked not hearing ourselves and our bones when we wake up, you know, like those sorts of things. But I don't want to relive them. I do not want to relive my 20s. They can have them. You know what I mean? Like, because the nerves, the confidence, the jockeying, the figuring out kind of what I'm doing and where I am. I heard when I get to my 50s, I'm going to be dangerous. Like, I heard women in their 50s right now. Oh, like,
weirder. Dana and I are in our 50s. Michelle, who unfortunately you can't hear for whatever reason, I want people to know she's not being rude. Michelle, for some reason, her sound is not working. But Dana and I are both in our 50s. I got to say, I'm loving, I don't know how you feel about this, Dana. I'm loving my 50s because I got to be honest with you. I have no fucks left to give. Like,
yes.
Zero. Like, I would not have written that Scott Jennings article. So I wrote an article. So I was on CNN all the time, and I wrote an article about Scott Jennings. This is a dipshit. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it was like CNN is beclowning itself by having Scott Jennings.
Clowning. I love it.
I would not have written that article in my 40s or certainly not in my 50s when I was TV because I actually would have given a shit about coming back to CNN. Now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
I don't care. I don't care.
You pointed out, Nicole, there are so many other ways to get your message out. There's so many other ways to talk to people. We get people on Substack, and like, I've got more people reading that column on Substack than people were in, like, the people get in the demo on CNN. So like, who cares?
Who cares? Exactly. Yeah. And that's also kind of the funny part of it too, is why do you think they don't want women who are over 40 in the room? Because we'll be the first ones to tell you that, hey, it's more about getting your message out and doing impactful work and helping people. That's what actually moves the needle than it is about followers, fame, clicks, and like. We'll tell you that that's facetious. We'll tell you it doesn't translate to dollars necessarily. We'll tell you that that's the game they're trying to sell you so that you can be silenced and adapt your message to what they want to set up.
And other things, we will not clean the kitchen, and we will not plan all the social events. Every young woman I work with where I work, when there are things coming up, like, we're going to have a big team event, I'm like, do not be on that. Do not be voluntold that you have to do that work unless there are also men doing it. Do not do, because I've seen it way too many times. And I'm like, I know that the kitchen is going to drive you crazy because sometimes people leave their shit in the kitchen. Only clean your own things. Do not become the mom.
Absolutely.
Right?
We're not,
but
like,
they
we're
need
not, like,
yes.
They need that. They need us in the room to do that. And but I'm telling you, when you have women, it's not lost on me. Like, I used to work in healthcare, you know, and there's a reason why you want people over 40 gone out of work, because they're expensive. They raise the cost of the policy for the company. You know, there's a reason why you don't want to pay them more, because they're qualified and experienced and they'll demand it. And the last thing you want is the rabble rousing over 50 woman who not only knows what's right, but can give you data to support it and is a living example of the truth of it, telling all these 20-year-olds to do better and be better and ask for more. So they're scared of us. It's not that you're actually not qualified, it's that they're terrified. And that is the truth about all women. So it's like, do not be hesitant to build that platform, speak your thoughts, go out there and demand more, create the change, because we are the truth. You know what I mean? You have to speak truth to power.
Oh my God. There are a bunch of people, at least in the Substack chat, asking where they can follow you. So I'm putting the link in now. Make sure you go subscribe to Nicole, and I'm going to put it in the YouTube chat as well. Let me go find it here.
You guys are so great. Thank you. I'm on, I have a podcast called the Nicole Walters Podcast. I'm on Instagram, Nicole Walters. Nicole Walters Official on YouTube, where you can find lots of the podcast episodes. And then obviously my book, Nothing is Missing, is available everywhere books are sold and on Amazon. But I suggest that you buy from a small book sale retailer.
Right, because you're not going to get on the New York Times best. You're not going to get back up there unless if people are buying from Amazon. I had no idea that.
That's the whole thing.
They want you to buy from independent retailers. I think that's, you know, one of those things. So, you know, ultimately.
What are you showing there, Michelle? I see you're showing something.
Oh, Instagram, yes.
And it's a mixture. If any of you have like grandma vibes, you'll see, like, I just had a baby. She's 15 months now, so my 1-year-old. So yes, cute baby pictures, you know, in addition to you know, classic millennial content, you know, like me complaining about there not being enough chairs places, in addition to complaining about politics, in addition to sharing behind the scenes and baby things. It's a full spread.
I love it. And I'm absolutely, and we're not concluding now. I'm realizing this sounds like we're like wrapping up. I didn't mean to do that. Just that there were a bunch of people in the chat being like, where can I follow?
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
I wanted to make sure I said it aloud and didn't just put the link in because it's going by.
The fact that you're dealing with a 15-month-old after having already raised 2 children.
Right?
What's wrong with me? Like, honestly,
That's insane.
something snaps. Well,
That's
so what's
insane.
interesting is if you saw my husband, I just got remarried 2 years ago. If you saw my husband, you'd understand. He's stupid hot, and he's really, and he's super emotionally intelligent. And he had me. He got me. It is what it is.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It is what
That's
it is.
great. I love
Yeah,
that.
That makes me so happy for you.
The second one's better, y'all. Like I had 27, 23, and 14. I adopted my 3 kids after, it's what's in the book. I adopted my 3 kids after meeting their mom on the side of the road in Baltimore. She was panhandling with my youngest, who at the time was 3. And I pulled over just to be like, hey, you know, what do you need? I lived in Baltimore at the time. I went to Hopkins. So I lived in Baltimore at the time, and I was like, hey, you know, well, you know, what do you need? Do you need food? Do you know, whatever. And then she told me she had 2 more daughters at home. So started taking them groceries. And then she went to jail after about a month. And the state would have taken the kids, like, we just didn't know what would happen because there were all 3 of them. They were 3, 11, and 14. So I took them all in. And then when her mom got out after a year, the girls were like, can we stay? I was 28 at the time. And I was like, sure, like, we'll figure it out. And that was
Nicole.
11 years ago. So I adopted 3 girls. So I have those girls.
So they're biologically related to each other? Also?
Yeah, they're all sisters. Yeah, there's 3 sisters. Yeah, 3, 11, and 14. And so their mom's still in their life, you know, and, you know, we are, but she's like maybe more like a grandma now, you know what I mean? Because there's abundance of love. It's just that parenting wasn't her bag. You know, she's got her own things that she's coping with, but the love is not, you know, it's one of the most loving actions that she even allowed someone to step in and mom, you know, and help. And my girls are incredible. You know, they're incredible. And, but, you know, my first marriage failed, you know, not failed, I would say expired, like milk, you know what I mean? I was getting curdled. It wasn't the thing. And I had a lactose intolerance. So, you know, first marriage is done, but got remarried to the most incredible man in the world. And we had another baby, and now my 4-pack is done. So
I love that. I love that so much. I don't know, Dan, you had your kids younger.
Me?
Yeah.
No, my 2 were 16 and 18, so I had them kind of old.
Oh, you get it, girl. Woo!
Yeah, I'm in the throes of my eldest. Just, you know, we've been doing the whole college search thing. She's a senior, and launching daughters into the world right now is a terrifying thing.
So are you guys doing college just like as a thought? Are you thinking college at all for your kids?
Oh yeah, we just plunked down the deposit. She is going to her dream school.
Wow. I'm so torn. Just like as an entrepreneur who did go the traditional route, like, so I went to Hopkins, like I grew up in DC.
Yes.
So I, you know, went to Sidwell, did like the whole school thing circuit. And, with my girls, I think I'm just going to give them a budget where I'm going to say, look, like if I have to come out of pocket this amount, you know, like here's the amount of money. If you want to start a business, you can put it towards a business. If you want to do an apprenticeship, sure. If you want to, you know, do some charitable work or philanthropy, just because like where we are in the world right now, like I would love to say that education makes sense, but each of my children is so different that I just want to nurture where they are. Like my eldest daughter, unfortunately, had some addiction issues just stemming from her upbringing. So we put her budget towards rehab. She went to a very nice rehab in Malibu, you know, and so she's sober now, been sober for 2 years. But that's what I mean is, you know, it's like, right, we're very happy for that. So, you know, and my middle one's an accountant. You know, I don't know what my 14-year-old is going to do. So that's kind of my approach. Were you automatically thinking college, or not me interviewing you, but curious?
Yeah, no. It's a great question. And we have been putting money in 529s for both of them their whole lives, like little bits at a time, so that we do have some money. To me, we have what I consider like, I'm so proud we saved this much, and also nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
We have some help from my family, which is great. And there has always been an understanding of it will likely be college. Yes, I have definitely instilled that in them. But there is a point where I have questioned of like, is it really worth all of this money? But here's what I've done differently than my family. And I think I'm like facing family wounds as I'm going through the process on the other side of it of like, my parents divorced right before I started college. I had a full tuition scholarship all 6 years, undergrad and graduate school. And I've never actually been acknowledged from my family for that, but just paying for all of the living expenses and things.
Wow.
It was, my parents wouldn't talk and I'd have to go to both of them. And it was so hard. I ended up going into debt because I never had an understanding of what we had. We weren't rich, we weren't poor, but there was sort of this like, of course you're going to go to college. Of course we can afford this, especially since my tuition was covered and I went to a state school for undergrad. But like with my daughter, I sat her down and I have a huge spreadsheet tracker. And I'm like, this is what we've saved. This is what you got. She got a really nice scholarship where she wants to go. But we've told her like, this is where you need, it's not a ton of money, but like you're working now. She has a job after school, either through work or loans. This is the part we expect you to contribute because you need some skin in the game. And she understands like, and then I did like projections for 4 years because we know the costs are going to keep going up.
That's
so
amazing.
This is where we can come in to cover this. And she got into oh, sorry, you're
sorry. Let me just butt in because Michelle's got to run because sound's not working, so she's going to go. Continue. Sorry, I just want people to.
Hi, Michelle. She got into Pratt in New York City, which is where we were debating coming to visit you.
Wow.
And I think this happens. This is what Lawrence and I face in StreamYard. Sometimes when people come and go, the sound goes away. I think we lost you, Nicole.
No, I can hear Nicole. Oh no,
we did lose me. I can hear you.
No, I can hear you. Oh, I can.
I can hear Julie and I can hear Dana. I can hear you both.
Okay.
You're going to have to translate or else I'm going to have to pop in and out. But I'll finish the story of Pratt. She got a great scholarship. It's $93,000 a year, room and board tuition. $93,000. So even with her $33,000 a year scholarship, it was like this. If you do this, then that means this is the level of debt. And I don't see this how. I mean, she wants to go into design. It's an amazing design school. Like, take the win of the pride that they admitted you, but like we cannot cover this. So to me, it's all about transparency of like, this is, I see it as like, this is the final decision that her parents get to help her make as parents. From here on out, we are consultants, but like she'll own it. But college, I had no idea how compounding interest worked. I had no idea about any of that. I know I got into Boston University. That's where you went, right, Julie?
That's where I went. Yeah, I went to BU.
And my parents were just sort of like, well, you can't go there. There's no money. And I was like, maybe tell me that before I apply. Like nobody helped me understand it at all. And it was just, well, you're going to go to University of Florida. It's the state school. We can afford it. But we have been there every step of the way, being like, go for the gold. You're really talented. Maybe there will be scholarship money. There is. And so I feel like for her, this is the right opportunity. Where she's going is amazing. I don't want to say it on air, but but also understanding of like, well, this is, the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze. If you're graduating 80 or 100 grand in debt, you will never probably come out from under that. It will cripple you and follow you.
People who are listening to this, because we have people from all over the world listening to us, I'm sure your head is exploding when you hear about the fact that college costs $100,000 a year in this country. And I have a 13-year-old, Nicole, so I have been 29 from the day he was born. And I'm planning on $100,000 a year from when he goes away to college, which is insane. Not to mention, he lives in New York. We live in New York. So you went to Sidwell. You know what I'm talking about in terms of tuition in schools. Also insane.
Oh, tuition, just so people have context, $65,000 a year.
I can't hear Nicole. I'm so sad.
Oh, go out and then come back.
I'm going to drop and come. I'm going to come right back.
It is over $70,000 a year in New York City.
And that doesn't include all the extras, right? Like, and also, I think it's worth noting, we're having a very privileged conversation, right? It's not, to even be able to consider these sorts of things is such a privilege. And it's not like there aren't public school alternatives. It's that they've been dismantled and stripped. Like, my daughter went to private school in LA and then chose to go to public school because she wanted more diversity and a different experience. And so, but I'm doing things like buying like Kleenex boxes for the school. school. Teachers are spending part of their income covering pencils and paper for their class. Like, so that's what we're facing if you're watching from abroad that exists out here in America. It's just, and I think it's worth saying, Julie, and I think we can all acknowledge this here, there is enough money. I want to be very abundantly clear. Do not let anyone convince you from any political party whatsoever that there isn't enough money for universal health care and for universal education. There is enough money because guess what? It used to be like that. We have just aged out time-wise long enough, just the same way that people don't really remember active engaged world wars because our grandfathers who used to tell the stories at Thanksgiving have passed. I want you to understand there's enough money. If we can find enough money to spend $1 billion a day at a war that no one asked for, I can tell you right now that there's enough money to cover everybody's health care. Everyone.
Yeah. Absolutely. And by the way, it costs the healthcare system more, all of us more, to not have universal healthcare. Because that's what happens when you don't have healthcare. You end up in the emergency room on what is known as charity care, which means that the rest of us pay for it. And if they caught this earlier, you wouldn't be hanging out in the emergency room 100%. Paying $100 billion for one Advil, which is what ends up happening. We all end up paying, which is what we all end up paying for. So again, you're absolutely right. There is enough money. There's also enough money in this world for all of us to pay a little more in taxes so that we have universal health care. Because I know it's April, right after April 15th, people are pissed off because they just paid in. Like, I'm pissed off that I'm paying Pete Hegseth, my former colleague at Fox, who get to do this bullshit crusade cosplay that he's doing. And for Donald Trump to be played by everybody from, Netanyahu to Saudi Arabia, Hegseth to all, it's insane. That pisses me off much more as to what my tax dollars are going to than if I were to pay for people to have universal health care.
Yes.
If I were to pay for better public schools, because I'll tell you in New York City, and my son does not go to a public school, but I know this from friends too. If you live in an affluent neighborhood, your public schools, your elementary schools are great because the parents who have enough money are able to supplement. They supplement. Whereas if you live in a horrible part of town, the schools there are bad, not because the kids are any dumber or not because the kids are any less able, but because their parents
don't have resources.
Don't have the resources to supplement, and they're also working 2-3 jobs. They can't be home to make sure their kids are doing their homework and other things that the rest of us are able to sit around and do with our kids, right? That's why things are the way they are. That is the institutional, generational perpetuation of this quote unquote underclass that we all live in, right? Like your kids are fine because you went to a good school and you know what it takes to get into Hopkins and you know what it's like to make sure that they're going to do everything they can, that if they wanted to go to a Hopkins, they could potentially get into it.
Absolutely. But also knowing that I grew up in DC, my dad was a cab driver. My mom was a secretary at a boating insurance company. I got into the various schools I'm in on scholarship because somebody literally passengers would get into my dad's cab and say, "Oh, your daughter seems kind of smart," because I was sitting in the passenger seat. "Have you thought about applying here? They give scholarships." And he just like roll of the dice. You know what I mean? That these things worked out. And even then, when I got to Hopkins, I didn't even understand how college credits worked. Like no one explained to me that it wasn't like high school where you just show up every day and then when you're done, you graduate. It's that you have to design your path. No one even thought to tell me that. It was a life lesson. I remember sitting down in academic advising and they were like, "Well, who's going to tell you? Like, it's your job to find out." And it was one of my, obviously my 20s, my first sort of adulting moments, where it was kind of like, oh, it's on me. You know what I mean? Like that, And so when I tell you it's this concept on both ends that women in particular and marginalized people are being told, don't pursue money, you don't deserve it, you're not going to get paid enough, and be humble and don't do this thing. At the same time that we're being told, oh, there also isn't enough money and your circumstances are due to something you did, and it's not about the fact that and we're being told by people, this is the other part that drives me nuts, we're being told by people who don't. Donald Trump has never turned on a stove. Like just in a simple,
He
like,
doesn't know
he's
what
never
a corner
changed.
store is. He doesn't know
He
what
doesn't know what a corner store is. He has never changed a roll of toilet paper. He's never, had to load a refrigerator. He doesn't know how a washing machine works. Like these are very real things. And if you think someone has the means, you can't argue on one end that you want a doctor to be qualified or a pilot to have a certain level of credentials, but also say that somebody who has never had to unload groceries and couldn't tell you how much a loaf of bread costs. Is it $1? Is it $10? Just doesn't know based on
It was $1. Now
lived.
it's $10.
I know it's 10. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't even know is going to care about what you pay for that. He's never looked at a healthcare bill. He's never, taken his kids to school.
I don't think he can read very well.
Listen, he can't speak very well. He can't read very well. I heard on good authority that the White House smells funny in the residential wing. I'm just throwing that out there. Just a little tidbit for anyone who needs a little joy on a Saturday.
I have heard that it's intentional. That
of course.
The smell of the power move.
But I will also tell you this, if you because I'm from New York, New York Military Academy, where he went to school, is for kids, like your parents threatened to send you to military school because you're a complete disaster. Wow. That's the military school they send you to, right? It's
like
not
you will
like,
not shame us. Like we're putting you here to not shame us.
Yeah, this is not the feeder. This is not the feeder into West Point. This is like this is like you're a complete fuck up. So we're gonna send you. Right. And it's now shut down. Like it was such a shitty. Like I have a friend who went to the same school, not at the same time as Trump because he's younger, but he went there because he was like, I was such a complete disaster that's where my parents had to send me. So that's Trump. Then he doesn't get into Penn right away. No. He got into Penn because somebody got him into Penn, and it's not like he was some genius at Penn. And the reality is, I also know people who his kids. I'm going to leave Ivanka aside. The two older boys, like they did not. One of them went to Trinity, which is a really good elite school here in New York, and then disappeared from Trinity because couldn't hack it. So the reason I say all this is because these are not people who've ever had to earn anything on their own. Ever.
They don't even understand.
They don't even understand. And if you live in New York City and you don't know what a corner store is, which in New York is called a bodega.
A bodega is. I don't live in New York and I know that.
And it is.
Of course. Haven't they seen in the Heights too? Of course they haven't.
Bodegas are on every corner and every neighborhood. And if he walks 2 blocks to the east of Trump Tower, he will find a bodega. So,
absolutely.
The reality.
He hasn't walked though. He hasn't left the Gilded Tower. And that's the thing is on a core level, if there's one thing the 92% was yelling, and when I refer to the 92%, if people don't know what that is or you're international, Black women voted disproportionately for Kamala Harris and a wider ethos against this administration at a 92% disproportionate, nature. So because we voted, I refer to the 92%, it's because we saw this on a base level. How can somebody help your prices of things go down if they don't know what the price is? How can someone help support your life and your school and things like that when they don't know what it is? Foundationally, you want someone, and especially when they're walking around saying, I understand your problems, I understand you have not lived it. You have not lived it. And I'm not saying that, to be fair, that there aren't billionaires on both sides of the political aisle, that there aren't people who are enriching themselves left and right by manipulating the stock market within Congress and they vote on both ways, right? Like that is real life. But I will say that the intimacy of an awareness of your background is a very real thing. It's a very real thing. And somebody who celebrates themselves by not just manufacturing a wealthy reality, that cannot be supported is not the ideal person to make decisions for the everyday man.
Well,
they're just not qualified.
If you think about and again, if you think about Bill Clinton, right, who grew up dirt poor in Arkansas, or you're Barack Obama, who growing up dirt poor was a child of literally somebody from Africa who abandoned the family and grew up white, like in a white environment, although he was not white himself. So talk about feeling like out of place.
Nuance there.
And I can go back, right? Jimmy Carter, peanut farmer, and so on. And then get to the Bushes And then you get to Trump.
The Clintons. Yeah, I mean, like the Clintons as they continue their political career. Obviously not the
right. But I'm talking about how Bill Clinton grew up, right? Like I grew up dirt poor. I was an immigrant. My parents came here with $90 between the three of us. We lived in the Bronx, like we were like homeless when we first came here.
Literally, I slept on a couch till I was 12, girl. I get it.
So the point is, like, I get it. And that's not my life today. And that's due entirely to hard work.
Yes.
And I'm always going to own it, and I'm not going to try to be humble about it. I worked my ass off to get to where I am, as did you, Dana, and as did Michelle, who's not here anymore. But the reality is, like, grew up dirt poor. That informs everything in my life. Like, I still have nightmares is not the right word, but I live it in ways that I think, like, my son mercifully doesn't live it. On the other hand, there are aspects of his life that irritate me, where he's like, can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this?
Poverty trauma is real.
Yeah, right. So I say that to say Donald Trump never had that. The Bushes never had that. You can empathize all you want. He has no empathy, so I'm not very addressing this to him. But if you're a billionaire, you can empathize all you want, but you will never actually viscerally understand what it's like to not be able to have food.
Absolutely. And also I think a little bit of the part where people act like, they get so defensive around billionaires, like, well, they worked hard for the money, or they earned whatever, and all of these things, and I want to be clear, as an entrepreneur who, I've been completely dirt poor, as an immigrant. I also am in the 1%. I've worked very hard to build the business that I have now. I am literally, by definition, the American dream that people talk about. But what people forget is I'm highly compassionate to people who don't have, and I want them to have the accessibility. I want the American dream to be legitimate, because one, I don't want to live in a gilded tower that needs security 24/7. I want to be able to go to Disneyland. When people get too hungry, they start stealing your bread. I'm not interested in that, especially because I think a lot of people also forget that I can share, and people can be comfortable, secure, cared for, happy, and healthy, and not even have interest in what I have. Like, I mean, when I tell you, so many people just want a simple existence where they can take their kids on vacation once in a while, cover their roof if it needs to be fixed, make sure that their car is good and able to start, that their kids have an opportunity to live slightly better than they did growing up. Like, it's no one's asking for everybody to be a billionaire. So if you give a little bit of what you've got, it's not like Jeff Bezos could give me $1 billion, make me a billionaire, and not even notice that it was missing. That is the problem. That is the problem that we're in right now. And they have us sitting here looking left and right and fighting at each other for whatever reason is the thing of the moment, because they don't want us looking at the fact that they have so much that the rest of us must be suffering because of hoarding of money.
And they have fooled us into believing that if we speak up about this, it's something, like, think about the white working class, right? Who is more screwed than the white working class, except for obviously people of color? But I mean, like, but I mean,
in terms of use of benefits, people of color don't use benefits at the level of the white working class, not even percentage wise. Like, it's just the truth of it,
Yep. And yet, and the same thing with addiction issues, like at a much higher rate, all of these things. And yet who votes overwhelmingly for the policies that tend to hurt them? It's like, remember that old book, What's the Matter with Kansas? The part that I think is fascinating, though, is that we are supposed to sit here and talk about the male epidemic of loneliness, and the male, like, poor men, white men, so lonely, they're whatever. That's why they're listening to Andrew Tate, to bring this all full circle.
Right.
That's why they're listening to all of these incels. Look, as the mother of a white boy who's going to be a white man soon, like, it's not that I don't have sympathy for it. It's that it's kind of self-manufactured. Self-manufactured. Like, how about you get your ass out by the bootstraps the way you're telling everybody else to do it, the way you did it, Nicole, and the way I did it, and the way you did it, Dana, and get yourself out of this rut.
Yeah, go work, go get a job, go work. But the truth is, we all know that facing your own mediocrity, facing the fact that you grew up, which, you know, to be clear, we live in a world that celebrates the mediocrity of, you know, of the patriarchy and of people who identify with supremacy. And so when they get into a place where that is checked and they realize maybe I wasn't as smart, maybe I wasn't as prepared, you have two options. You can either say, hey, what can I do to prepare? You know, or you can complain and say that it wasn't fair, that the odds weren't stacked, and were stacked against you. Like,
and by the way, they look at you and they're like, that Black woman took my spot at Johns Hopkins.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. I had someone say that to me the first week of school. A white male from New York who went to Dalton, who now works at a top legal firm, looked me in the face and said, after we were like kind of doing the first day, everyone chatting sort of thing in the dorm. And he was like, it's crazy because when you first got here, I thought that it was affirmative action, but you're actually kind of smart. I was like,
you're actually kind of smart.
You're actually kind of smart. At first, I
you
thought
should
it was just
actually go die in a fire.
Kind of smart. Literally, I was just like, oh, like, and I mean, it was just so interesting, you know, to imagine being the only Black person on my floor at my school, probably in my dorm building at that point, you know, and being told something like that early on. Do you know what that did to my psyche? I literally was in class thinking to myself, if I speak up and get this wrong, am I affirming the fact that everyone thinks I'm too stupid to be here? Like just stuff that I have to carry for no reason while you're walking around not only feeling like you deserve to be here, but that you are naturally the first one in class, like number one, best at everything. It's absolutely delusional. Absolutely delusional.
Yeah. Listen, and by the way, Dalton, which has done a better job now of being diverse, back then was lily white.
You could imagine. Yeah.
So like, how did he get into Dalton? Pretty much because his parents probably were super.
Because you can write a check. You know, and it's just so unfortunate because if there's anything I hope people take away, you know, from what we're getting at, look, there are a lot of nuances. There are a lot of things that are not okay. There are a lot of things that are wrong. There are a lot of things that will take. I hope my children in their lifetime see change, right? But as independent people, what can we do? Don't be scared, right? Don't be scared to speak out about what's right. If there was one thing I could ask of anyone who is in a place of privilege to have conversations that I may not be able to have in this world, speak up, say something. It is worth it to say something because a world where everyone's voice is elevated and also where you're getting paid well, get your money. Like that's number two, get your money. Like be paid in full on time, get the raise. Do not be bashful about it. Do not go out here doing things for free unless it is for church, children, or charity. And even the church pays the plumber. Okay. Get your check, sis. You know what I mean? Like get your check because understand that no one's coming to save you. And you will do better with that money in your hands. You deserve to have that money in your hands. You're able to put it where it's supposed to go. The billionaires are not. So if you're able to go out there and get it, do it. If you have a dream, pay for it. It's not cute to be at the farmer's market playing around being like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, it's just a little hobby. Girl, monetize your stuff and get paid because that's what everyone else is doing. You know?
And let me just say this about Substack, because I have a lot of people probably also watching right now who get really pissed off at me that I paywall most of my stuff. Let me tell you why I paywall most of my stuff. I paywall most of my stuff because it takes me hours, and I mean hours to write it. And when I'm doing that, I'm not doing something else that I make money on. So
and that is a very and also when you make money, you get to put it towards things that matter. When I make money, I'm able to also give scholarships. I'm able to give to people who I know deserve it. But aside from that, I'm not going to explain why everything I've ever done is paywalled. It's paywalled because I should get paid. Because money is good with me, because I'm a good writer, because my stuff is amazing, because I'm a good marketer, and all of you are too. Everyone has something that they're good at doing, and they deserve to get paid for it. Because every single person on this billionaire list, they're all rich white men who are not good at things. And they're getting paid for it because they're rigging the system. They're grifters. They're leveraging inheritance in order to buy out politics and situations in order to get more money. So the least you can do is charge what you're worth.
Oh my God, Nicole, I'm going to get woo here for a second. It's a new moon yesterday. It's a very powerful new. I am not super into astrology, but I have a lot of friends who are, and I'm increasingly getting kind of fascinated by this new moon cycle and setting intent. and I have a monthly podcast called the Crone Cocktail Hour. It's me and Oceana Teffenhart and Karen Marie Shelton, who are very woo, and we get together and talk about our intentions for the new moon. And apparently this one is about everything. All the planets have moved into Aries, and it's all about like fire, power, and it's like whatever you've been thinking about doing or not doing,
Do it.
You're gonna jump and do it, and
Launch. Do it.
You're not gonna know how to do it, but it's a one-way door, and you better go. And I'm like, huh. I've been putting this energy out there of what I want it to be, and I'm like, and here's Nicole, Dana, just underlining all of these important things. And I'm thinking about what you said earlier, Julie, about writing your way out of CNN, right? Being like, that guy was what did you call him, a dipshit? You can't do that unless you have money in your pocket, right?
That's right.
Well, no. So to be clear, I wasn't working at CNN. I wasn't being paid by CNN. But at Fox, I will say this. So the reason I left Fox was I was one of the women, Nicole, who sued Roger Ailes for sexual harassment. I was one of the women who came forward to that. Thank you. And
Julie literally has someone who plays her in the movie.
Yeah.
Superhero.
Thank you. I don't have
somebody. It was Michelle Monaghan, right? I know it was
not Michelle Monaghan. It was a tall Irish redhead named Anna O'Reilly. I am a short.
Dead ringer.
Dead ringer. But she did not. She played somebody with my name. I would not necessarily say she played my story because that didn't really.
That's TV. That's Hollywood.
But I will say this. I was able to do that because I had a whole other career.
That's right.
And so many women came to me who work there, who said to me, we wish we could do what you did. We wish we could come forward.
Yes.
This is our job. And I will say this, and this is going to disappoint people. None of the women who came forward at Fox about Bill O'Reilly, about Roger Ailes, about anything else have ever found paid work in television again. Wow. And so my attitude about this is, once I had no fucks left to give because I realized my career in TV was over, they're very happy to take our free labor. Like I was
100%
CNN,
all day.
I was on CNN every single day.
They expect it.
For election and for free. And my attitude about CNN, and this is not a knock on CNN, like God bless, but my point about my thing with CNN was when I wrote that thing about Scott Jennings, my attitude basically was, I'm speaking to you as a friend who's having an intervention with you because you be the network that people took seriously. You are the network of Christian Amanpour and people like that, right? And all of a sudden now you have this clown who is a pathological liar, who is literally ridiculous, and you are beclowning yourselves. And I'm saying this to you as a friend who grew up watching your network. Needless to say, that was it. That was the end of it. Although I have been back since this whole Eric Swalwell thing, because guess what? Now they need a Me Too person. So now I've done a couple of shows. But yeah, and I'm sticking it to them by doing it to be like, whoever banned me here, I guess you really need it after all, didn't you? But my point is, like, I say this to say none of us really need this shit. Like, whatever job you have, I understand why you have, if you're being mistreated, I understand why you have to stay there because this is your income. You're never going to get somebody to be like, fuck
and
you,
benefits and all of that. We have kids, absolutely.
Yeah. Like I got married. I was a single mom. I was a single mom by choice. I had my son by myself. And when I left Fox, like that was a big hit financially. Like I'm not going to pretend it wasn't, right? And I was, again, I had a 4-year-old at the time. So, but I was able to do it because I had a whole other career. Don't ever put all your eggs in the same in one basket.
That's right.
All I'm going to say. And so if you have a side gig, monetize
Do it.
God forbid something happens to you, at least you have some other trickle of business. That you can maybe
and also so you can work without compromise. A lot of what you talked about. I love that if I'm filming a TV show and they want me to do something or say something crazy, I'm like, it's a hard no, never. You can have it, you can keep it. And being able to speak, like basically we're saying, look, they're not giving us privilege. They're trying to denounce or to define what privilege is. Create your own, sis. You know what I mean? Create your own privilege because it will shock them every single time. When you walk in that room and you say, I'm not doing it, then that's it. And also above all else, when you're in a place of privilege, go back and grab your sisters and bring them with you. Please, let's not do this gatekeeping stuff. Let's not cut each other down. Let's support each other's work. If you see someone doing something great, hand them the microphone. Okay, let them have a shot too, because it really does help the collective. And sometimes I am absolutely I get torn up about some of the purity politics, right? As if we don't all have stuff, you know, that will then have us coming at each other's necks when we're like, we are missing the mark. All of my vitriol, all of my fire, all of my rage, I can hold you accountable, but like, especially within the Black girl community, we will pull you aside at home and be like, hey girl, what was that all about? You shouldn't have even done that. But outside, we fighting. You know what I mean? Like me and you side by side, we are going to get them. And that's the thing that I know they're most afraid of, is that as women, when we all get together, commonality is, we can talk about our itchy inner ears because of perimenopause. We can talk about brain fog from menopause. We can talk about what it's like raising teenagers when we are in our, you know, late 40s and 50s, and these kids are driving us crazy. Like, we can find common ground. And so do not let them drive a wedge between us, because when a bunch of white men get together, like the tape bros and all that manosphere bullshit, they are jockeying for who is the biggest in the room when the measuring stick is only 6 inches, you know? And what's embarrassing for them is that they're realizing that none of them are the cool one. Yeah, if they're lucky. None of them are the cool one. None of them. So, I mean, it is so imperative that we leverage that there's more of us than there are of them. You know what I mean? There's more of us than there are of them.
And it's because there are, at least for Gen X, when I grew up, and Dana, I think you'll probably agree with me on this, and I think it's gotten better, everybody was tokenized, right? Like I, for most of my career in politics, actually for all of my career in politics, was the only woman in the back room where decisions were made, right? Because I put up with the time
and scarcity mindset.
That's and so therefore there's only room for one woman. So I was that one woman, right? And so everybody else, you're kind of pitted against each other, right? And I'm sure you have this. You maybe have been the only African American woman in the room. Michelle, sorry, Nicole. And so the reality is, like, we were completely trained to constantly fight with each other and compete with each other, as opposed each other up. And I think the reason that Michelle and I created Mayday, and the reason I think Dana is coming to our lives, and now you, Nicole, like, I'm not interested in being around women anymore who don't lift each other up. And you're so right about so right about gatekeeping. Like, I'm happy to do a show on menopause and talk about how wonderful it is.
All the things.
Menopause is awesome.
Menopause is awesome. Well, and also talking about the industry, you know, like people, like that's the other part too, is a lot of us are sold aspirational lifestyles because, you know, they want us to pursue this thing that may not even fit us. So like, you know, one of the things that I love to do, my 9-to-5 job is I do a business consulting. And so because of that, I'm working with women who will come in and say, yeah, I just really want to be a billionaire. I want a New York Times bestseller. I want this. And I'll say, do you, sis? Like, what is it that you really want? You know, and if you're saying what you want is to be able to stay home with your 3-year-old until they're 6, and you want to be able to have flexibility to not go into the office some days, but you want to make enough money in order to go on vacation and to send your kid to the school that you want. Oh, babes, we can do that for $300,000, which isn't nothing, but you don't need to kill yourself running for billionaire when the life you want. And that is, again, part of the big lie, right? You know, it's telling you that you'll only get somewhere if you're blonde hair and blue eyes. That's a lie. You know, the fact that they'll occasionally pick a brunette to make famous, you know, that's a lie. It doesn't mean that other brunettes aren't capable. It's part of the lie, you know? And so just know that you're allowed to define what you believe to be your reality and your truth, and go and pursue it and make it real. And growing up as an African immigrant in DC, where I was told at every turn, be smaller, say less, do less. No, I'm not going to say less. If you need less, go find it. You know what I mean? I'm the most. And that's where I'm going to be everywhere. And if I have to create my own spaces, I will, you know, and if it doesn't work, I would rather be broke in a box with my integrity and my dignity and know that it wasn't for lack of trying. You know what I mean?
For sure. All right, you guys, we've been at this for 3 hours.
I know. Look at us. Love you.
No.
Oh my God.
Let me just say that before we go. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I have your Instagram open, and you're right. You and your husband are so cute.
He's so great. He is a golden retriever also, guys. He is emotionally intelligent, super kind. Like he's less nice than me. I mean, he'll be like, this guy's stupid. Like he's very, but he's great. Great dad. I'm very
By the way, love that, and love the fact that you can meet. I met my husband when I was in my 40s.
That's right.
You can meet anybody. Like, and I did. You can meet anybody anytime. So Dana is the single person. in this chat, I'm telling you, it could happen.
Oh, it not only can it happen, you're better qualified. Do you know what I mean? Like the sex is better. Like, come on, ladies. You know what I mean? Look at this. Every single woman here. You know who couldn't nod along with this? Andrew Tate, because he doesn't know what sex is. He's not getting it. Okay. And then we've brought it full circle. We'll bring it on home.
He's by imprisoning women and then, like raping them against their will. All right.
Absolutely.
One more thing to say. Michelle, not Michelle Kinney, but Michelle in the comments, Michelle CD4722. We are so sorry to hear about your mom. And we're so sorry to hear about just every member of your family now being gone. Don't think we did not hear and see you. We did, and we love you, and we thank you for being part of this community. And really, like, our hearts are with you. So incredibly sorry.
Yeah.
And to everybody else, in the chat who's been so wonderful to Michelle while this show's been going on. Thank you to all of you for being just such a wonderful. This is what we're talking about. Such a wonderful, uplifting part of
the best of us.
The best of this community that comes here. Nicole, you are like, don't even know what to say. We are so
fun.
Force of nature.
Force of nature.
Force of nature.
In good company.
Yeah, the best thing I'm taking out of this whole experience is that I love how you're leaning into your success. All of us should be doing the same. All of us should be leaning into our success. We have to. This whole thing of like, oh shucks, thanks for saying so. It's not really like, if somebody tells you look great, say thank you. Don't be like,
thank you.
Really?
Keep it moving.
Yeah, because I don't think I brushed my hair today, and I don't think No,
we're not making ourselves small. We're not shrinking because we're shining in their eyes. Okay, get some sunglasses, boo.
Oh my God, Nicole. What are you doing on Tuesday morning, by the way? Are you still in Atlanta?
No, I'm not. So I actually just, believe it or not, it is 10 o'clock here. I've had about 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, wait. So you're already back in LA.
I'm back in LA. I took a red eye in and I was like, I can do it. I can pull it off. I still got it. This is the difference, right? This is 40. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to email you about coming on the Daily Whatever show. What are you doing at 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning?
I'll be available for sure because I've got a 15-month-old that wakes up. So I'll be here. My amazing husband will be like, go do it. So it'll be fun. Thank you for having me. Above all else, thank you for having me. I just want to shout you both out. I'm sure everyone here in the comments already knows. Y'all, how incredible are these women? Like, I mean, the idea that you are not just creating a platform to elevate the narrative that I think is going to save us all, but you're also documenting. I mean, we don't know it yet, but in the future, we are historians. We're documenting truth, and I'm grateful for you for fostering a space where that can be done and creating a space where, my existence, my narrative, my version of the truth can also be inserted in here as well. This is intersectionality. This is women working together, and this is necessary. And so for anyone who's listening or watching, keep coming back and keep looking for spaces like this because they're safe ones and they're ones that make us better. So thank you for having this.
And the Substack, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Angie on Substack said, thanks for Nicole. She's our tribe. You are our tribe. We love you. We are so grateful to you.
Thank you. Julie, the exact comment I was going to read.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
And other Dana, there's a Dana in the chat saying all 4 rock stars after a disgusting week for women. This was exactly what we needed. This was a hard fucking week.
Yes.
You beat Andrew Tate. And then you elevated all of us. This has just been amazing.
We beat Andrew Tate because I stand on the backs of other women who have lifted me up. So we did it collectively and we all can continue to do it. They are not going to get the best of us.
Thank you for being the avatar for all of us and beating Andrew Tate this week. Thank you for standing for us, and we hope you continue to kick his ass. We hope all of us continue to kick his ass. Don't ever let that guy who is a fraud and a phony, who uploaded his stupid mailing list, which is why he's got like 10 paid subscribers, because they're all a bunch of 13-year-olds who can't afford to actually pay money to be.
That's right.
So appreciate it.
True.
Right. Ladies, Michelle Kinney, who hopefully is working on her sound issues elsewhere. So great doing the show with you this morning, and you are welcome back here any Saturday that you feel like bitching. Just let us know. Come on back. To everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us again, and we love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.